people, them will the power. Them who they leave my people devour. In Uganda, South Africa, Chile, and Rhodesia, and even in the Caribbean. Rise, people, rise, people, rise up. Rise with vengeance, drive them from the land. Wherever you find tyranny, stamp it out, send them in the sea. Rise, people, rise. Shake off your plight. Though you're in no condition to fight, fight your must, or suffer worse. This cruel world will never see the light. This world is in such a state, too horrible to relate. Tyranny conquers all, restraining tongue and pen, destroying better men, but we won't let them. All them people, them will the power. Them who they leave my people the power. Tell them people I say, their blood will flow one day, just like ours flowing now. Rise, people, raise up. Rise with vengeance, drive them from the land. Wherever you find tyranny, stamp it out, send them in the sea.
They say Pierre Berg ruled for 25 years, and he have 1 ton of house and land. They tell me again that some of them come just 4 years. Now they own nearly the whole of St. John. Who have bulldozer, they sure to have truck and bus. Me without a dollar can't make no fuss. It's enough for me to cry. They're bleeding the country dry, take it easy. I gotta tell you the reason why.
Pull up the tune! Pull up the tune!
They say Pierre Berg ruled for 25 years, and he have 1 ton of house and land. They tell me again that some of them come just 4 years. Now they own nearly the whole of St. John. Who have bulldozer, they sure to have truck and bus. Me without a dollar can't make no fuss. It's enough for me to cry. They're bleeding the country dry, take it easy. I gotta tell you the reason why. All of them is money glutton, no exception. Money glutton. They only making sure that their pocket full. Money glutton. All politicians. Money glutton. But before long I know I gonna use me bull. I have one intention when I check them record, and I find any one of them that you Turned out with this in their pockets, but when I need it here, you talk without mercy.
It's the bull born across the back.
A certain man find he wants some dollars too, so he organize a union and call it new. When he find the people and them get to love his leadership, he go quit the union and play politics. Some of them who say that they preach politics is not because they have the country at heart. They jump on stage with 1 ton of chat, they can't fool me, I'm too smart for that all the time. I know it's the money they're getting up. All of them is
Money glutton,
all politicians.
money glutton,
They only making sure that their pocket full.
money glutton,
I have no exception.
money glutton,
But before long I know I'm gonna use me bull. I have one intention when I check them records, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. The first one I meet is here, attack without mercy.
it's the good one across the back.
They say Bear Bird ruled for 25 years, and he had 1 ton of house and land. They tell me again that some of them come just 4 years. Now they own nearly the whole of St. John. Who have bulldozer, they sure to have truck and bus. Me without a dollar can't make no fuss. It's enough for me to cry. They bleed in the country, try take it easy. I gonna tell you the reason why. All of them is
Money glutton,
no exception.
money glutton,
They only making sure that their pocket full.
money glutton,
All politicians.
money glutton,
But before long I know I'm gonna use me bull. I have one intention when I check them record, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. The first one I meet is here, attack without mercy.
it's the good one across the back.
A certain man find he wants some dollars too, so he organize a union and call it new. When he find the people and them get to love his leadership, he go quit the union and play politics. Some of them who say that they preach politics is not because they have the country at heart. They jump on stage with 1 ton of chat, they can't fool me, I'm too smart for that all the time. I know it's the money they're getting up. All of them is
Money glutton,
all politicians.
money glutton,
They only making sure that their pocket full.
money glutton,
I have no exception.
money glutton,
But before long I know I'm gonna use me bull. I have one intention when I check them records, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. The first one I meet is here, attack without mercy.
it's the good one across the back.
Bear Bird started this thing as a trade unionist before he become chief minister. And when he has premier, find it still exists. He gets vexed and fire George Walter. But George come back and repent later on, organize a powerful trade union. When he come the next premier, he make himself finance minister. Believe me, not one of them is better. All of them is
Money glutton,
all politicians.
money glutton,
They only making sure that their pocket full.
money glutton,
No exception.
money glutton,
But before long I know I'm gonna use me bull. I have one intention when I check them record, and I find any one of them dodging figures. Don't doubt me, this is a fact. The first one I meet is here, attack without mercy.
it's the good one across the back.
That's right.
Studios located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop there.
And our transmitter located at the highest point, Body Peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International, 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's get ready to rumble!
Yeah, I told you, you have to stand for something. Sometime at a time, imagine, it might be a lot of vibes and things and so, but you stand up, man. You have to stand up as a man, you know. Any man that can't stand up for what they believe in, then the word, the silence, and walk over just.
Say that again.
Yeah, I told you.
Say that again.
Any man that can't stand up for what they believe in, you hear? I'm saying the word, the silence, and walk over.
Tell them no, I'm nobody's Negro. I only promoting truth that they cannot refute. I tell them no, definitely no, I'm nobody's Negro. Righteousness is my best friend, ethics and morals I defend them. I tell them no, no damn reward could turn me so. Yesterday, today, tomorrow. Nobody's Negro, no, no, no. Oh my, oh Lord. But I'm a riggy diggy tabby diggy 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 diggy. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Biddy biddy dabba 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 biddy biddy dabba 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 I've seen some valleys, I've walked through some darkness, waded through rivers of grief. Oh, the enemy told me that I was forsaken, no one was fighting for me. But I didn't make it.
Yes, good night. Good night, Antigua Barbuda. Let me say good night to our Caribbean neighbors. All locked into 97.1 ZDK Liberty Radio.
The Savior, keep holding me up.
Let me say good night to St. Kitts and Nevis. Anguilla. Hey, good night, Montserrat. Hey, how you doing, modeling? Hope and trust that all is going good. Let me say good night to Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Barbados, Grenada, Guyana. Good night to Trinidad and Tobago. And to those who have joined us via the World Wide Web, you might have joined us on the website. Hey, that's www.radiozedk.com. Or you very well might have joined us via Facebook Live. Hey, that's on ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1. Hey, good night and welcome aboard. The scripture to cover tonight's program is taken from the book of 1 John. 1 John chapter 4
For you
and verse 1.
to place,
And it reads,
think you can.
Hey, beloved, believe not every spirit,
Tell
hey, but try the spirits whether they are of God.
you can't.
Because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Hey, you better believe that.
Choice to try.
Let's go with that again.
Just
Beloved,
what he's
believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God.
and he never
Hey, because many false prophets
is all.
are gone out into the world. I find that is so true. The word of God. Hey, coming to us from the book of 1 John chapter 4 and verse 1.
No weapon shall prosper when God's on my
Let me say a special good night to Miss Patricia Gums. Hey, how you doing, Miss Gums?
if it's just
Hey, to my little sister Nicole and her family over there in the Mount Pleasant area. Hey, to my other sisters, Bridget, Nola, Hey, to my brother. Hey, the man Kali, aka DJ Governor Slim. Yep, to my many nieces.
For me.
Especially. Hey, Joanne. Good night, Joanne. Denise. Hey, Bernadette. Hope and trust that all is going good. Hey, to my many nephews. Especially the man Zian. Hey, good night, Zian. Also to my other nephew, Austin. Hey, big up yourself, Austin. Hey, not forgetting my many cousins. Especially cousin Annette James Brown. Right, yes, James Brown. Over there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And also Halima Thomas. She's in Orlando, Florida. Hope and trust that all is going good. Hey, to my second mom over there in the United States. That's Sister Jean Golston. Hey, big up yourself, Sister Jean. Jomo. Hey, be sure to kiss mommy for me. Also, right back here in Antigua. Over to the Nut Grove Village area. Let me say goodnight to my other second mom, Loretta Hunt. Hey, how you doing, Loretta? Hey, not forgetting my other second mom. Hey, down yonder. Now see where she did. Hey, but Cassie. Hey, good night, Cassie. How you doing? I hope and trust that all is going good. Hey, to my stepmother over there in the Berlin area. That's East Spotters. For you. That's Miss Christophine Lewis. To place. Hey, good night. How you doing? You can't go. Hey, not forgetting no family friend extraordinaire. Down there in the Cooksville area. That's Mrs. Winifred Christopher and her family. Brothers and children, grandchildren. Hey, big up yourself, Bamsey. I hope and trust that all is going good with you and your family down there.
Trust order down. Just remember what he's always done. Yeah, he's never failed me, and he never will. And the battle is already won. It's already won. If God is for me, who can stand against me?
Hey, let me say good night to Hazel Joseph. Hey, good night to you. When God's on my side. Hey, Mr. Lockhart over there in the Pickett's area. Hey, I'm gonna forget you. If not tomorrow, by Monday. And I'm just swamped with some work. Sorry about that. You're listening to ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
of sad tomorrow. Woe to the down-pressed. They eat the bread of sad tomorrow. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
From a little cottage in number 3 Casarda Gardens hails Rags to Rugs. 100% handmade Antiguan interwoven rag rugs by J. Lissa Lewis. We have various sizes of floor rugs, decorative wall hanging rugs, and table mats, uniquely and sustainably handmade. To purchase, send us a message via WhatsApp at 268-770-8088 for directions to our physical location, or we can deliver to you anywhere on Antigua absolutely free. Like and follow us on Facebook at Rags to Rugs Antiguan Made, on Instagram Rags to Rugs, or you can email us at ragstorugs@gmail.com. Don't forget, our rag rugs and table mats are machine washable and dryable. See you soon.
Elaine and Dad's Joseph Consultancy. We consult on labor relation matters, insurance, business matters, and politics. P.O. Box 2287, Francis Lane, Yorks Village, St. John's, Antigua Barbuda. Our email address, it's elaineanddadsjoseph@gmail.com. Telephone numbers 776-0200 or 464-4201. Contact us. We are here for you.
I witnessed a fight between UPP whistle stoppers and scores of liberals. When I see how battle was pelting all over the place, I run into Yasoso building in order to escape. While inside a youngster asks me whose side I'm fighting for, though his question make me angry, I decide to answer. I don't have a red chip in me.
Yes, welcome back. Hey, welcome back to Real Talk.
A blue chip in my butt.
Hey, right here in ZDK Liberty Radio, 97.1 FM.
For them service politicians.
The time in studio, 18 minutes after the 8 p.m. hour.
This island, if there's a chip under my skin.
Dave Beef Josephine and company.
So I'm fighting.
Hey, how was your day today? Hey, hope and trust your day, you've been having a good day. Hope and trust that you're having a good weekend thus far.
I'm fighting.
Hey, I'm feeling good.
Fighting.
Hey, for those who may not be feeling all that good, please say a prayer. Say a prayer and mean it. Prayer works all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Let me say good night. Hey, to my good buddy. Hey, the man Plus 8.
And still.
Hey, down in the Green Bay area. Hey, big up yourself, Stonewall Jackson. Hey, good night once again to Nalda Jarvis. Hey, how are you doing, Nalda? I hope and trust that all is going good with you. Let me say good night also to your brother. Hey, how are you doing, Mr. Jarvis? Hey, big up yourself, man.
When the youngster begin to beg to repeat what I said, friends, I come to the conclusion he didn't understand. I repeat, I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in my.
Hey, well, normally at this time I would be introducing my good buddy Jablaki.
Fighting.
Hey, but Jablaki is not going to be with us tonight.
And the political party in this.
And he will not be with us for a little while. He has some matters that he's dealing with.
National one. So I'm fine.
Yeah, so it's nothing, He's just dealing with some issues. So that's going to keep him away for a little bit.
Redemption.
Hey, big up yourself, Jablaki.
Oh, yes.
I hope and trust that all is going good. Let me say good night to your wife and your family.
I'm fighting to save.
Hey, bless up. Hey, to all the birthday celebrants. Hey, those who are celebrating or would have celebrated in the not too distant past. Hey, those who are celebrating today. And those who will be celebrating in the not too distant future. Hey, advance birthday greetings going out to you. Hey, bless up yourself. Hey, let me check and see if I can name anyone.
While speaking, the political fracas intensified. And in the end, an innocent child was hospitalized. When politicians grant you favor here in this country, they want to control you forever. You are their property, and when they plan, they're chipping you.
All right, a very good friend of mine is celebrating next Saturday.
So what?
Hey, well, you never know what's gonna happen. You know, it should be here, but you never know what's gonna happen. So let me just say advance birthday greetings. Hey, going out to my good friend. Hey, that's Miss Patricia Weston. Over there in the Hodges Bay area. Hey, what's up, Pat? What's up, Pat? Say.
To be fighting.
You're celebrating come next Saturday, God Spare Life. Well, you know, I don't know what can happen, so let me just give it to you now. Once I'm here Saturday, certainly. Hey, maybe I can get a piece of cake before I come and work, you know. Hey, hey, big up yourself, Miss Weston. All the best on your birthday to come.
I'm fighting for the redemption of this nation. Oh, yes.
Hey, let me say good night. Hey, to my friend, my very good friend up there in the Parham area. I haven't spoken to her in quite a while. Hey, that's Dorothy. Hey, good night, Dorothy. You have a birthday coming up also. Hey, but as we get closer, I'll big you up. Don't worry ahead, man. Hey, big up yourself, Dorothy. We certainly haven't spoken in a while, boy.
The youngster said, to tell you the truth, I hate politics. Mommy and daddy acting like fools. They must have having chips. Politics make good men become bad when they have power. It also make the cookish one sad when they are devoured. He said, though I cannot vote, I care for my country. So like you, I am very hurt to see what's going on. He told me I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in his body. He is too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and the political party in this island. If there's a chip under his skin, it's a national one. So he's fighting for the redemption of his nation. Service politicians and the political party in this island. If there's a chip under my skin, it's a national one. So I'm fighting for the redemption of this nation. Oh yes, I'm fighting. I say I'm fighting to safeguard our native land. The youngster said, to tell you the truth, I hate politics. Mommy and daddy acting like fools. They must have having chips. Politics make good men become bad when they have power. It also make the cookish one sad when they are devoured. He said, though I cannot vote, I care for my country. So like you, I am very hurt to see what's going on. He told me I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in his body. He is too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and the political party in this island. If there's a chip under his skin, it's a national one. So he's fighting for the redemption of his nation. Oh yes, I'm fighting. I say we're fighting to safeguard our
warning signs that somebody may be having a stroke involve inability to lift your arms, sudden inability to move one of your legs or walk, facial droop, difficulty speaking. And it's really important that if you or somebody around you has these symptoms, that you call 911 or get that patient to the emergency department as soon as possible, because we have some interventions that are very time sensitive that can work to rapidly reverse some of those symptoms. The time frame when you have stroke symptoms generally is minutes to hours. When you're alone and experiencing symptoms of stroke, you may be aware of them and you may not be. Some people having strokes are confused about why they're having a hard time speaking and are confused why what they want to say isn't what is coming out of their mouth. When you call 911 to report somebody you think may be having a stroke, it's important that you communicate that to the dispatchers. We can have minutes to hours to get symptoms on board or procedures completed in order to reverse stroke symptoms. If this is happening to you, it's important that you call 911.
Yes, that's very important that we know the signs. If we see persons, in distress, or if we also feel, like something is going on, we would know and do something in quick time, because as you see, time is the essence when these things are happening.
Regular health exams and tests can help find problems before they start. They also can help find problems early, when your chances for treatment and cure are better. Which exams and screenings you need depends on your age, health and family history, and lifestyle choices such as what you eat, how active you are, and whether you smoke.
To make the most of your next checkup, here are some things to do before you go. Review your family health history. Find out if you are due for any general screenings or vaccinations. Write down a list of issues and questions to take with you.
Yes, and that again is very important that we get our checkups done. Just like for those of us who have vehicles, we get into the preventative maintenance part of things. It's very important that we do that with our bodies, get an idea as to what's happening. There might be something that you come up with in the examination that would head off a serious situation to come. So let us all get accustomed to getting these checkups done, whether it is annually or semi-annually. Get the different tests that's necessary to do. Get them done so that you know what your numbers are, etc. It's all about preventing, to the best of your ability, preventing what might be happening. I remember that there was a guy, his name is Jeff Green. He played for Boston at the time. Just a routine exam he went for, and he had to end up having open heart surgery. Yeah. He's playing with the Denver Nuggets now, on the verge of winning a first championship ring. Hey, let me say good night to Rasai. Maybe if I talk to him later tonight, he can tell me how the series between Denver and Miami is going. But from what I would have heard, Jeff Green and his teammates seem to be on the verge of, of winning the first championship. Sorry, I'm not sure if they're playing tonight or if it's tomorrow night. I'm not really following it that close. Once Boston get blown, me out of it. Me not really follow that too much. But from what I heard, seems as if Denver is on its way to becoming the 2021-22, 23, no, 22-23 NBA champions. Just saw something on the thing here saying that the app is not working. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm not sure. Not sure the technician left already, but okay, maybe there's some issue there. I'll have to ask that. What's up, Branty? Hey, maybe you can tell me how the series is going. If it's what the name? Sorry, if it's Miami that's up 3-1 or 2-1, whatever it is, Yeah, so as I was saying, Jeff Green had a checkup or something, and turned out that he had to have open heart surgery, and the experts and them as they spoke was saying if it wasn't for that test and they found certain things in the early, he might not have been alive today to be playing for that first championship. So these tests, these annual tests, semi-annual tests, they're very important. I know we have a tendency, especially men, have a tendency that if they're not feeling sick, it's not necessary to see the doctor. Even sometimes when they're feeling sick, it's still not necessary to see the doctor. But no, we have to look out. We have to look out for ourselves, and especially as we're getting down in age, the more you're going down the hill, is the more informed you have to be, in my opinion, as to what's happening with you health-wise. You know, when they're young, you can run around and get over things easy, but as they get older, can't do that. So let me just encourage everyone, both male and female, to get those tests done. Know your numbers, know exactly what's happening. And before I get into anything deeper, let me just remind everyone that we're now in the hurricane season, and now is the time to begin to make your preparations. If there's any trees and them kind of stuff to be cut, now is the time to deal with those kind of stuff. Yes, we're having some issues right now with National Solid Waste, but at the same time, got to do our part. Good night, caller.
Good night, Biff.
Hey, what's up, Rasai?
Hey, man, I hear you, Charles. You know what? We have a problem with the station now, but you know, come out clear, Charles, in the radio.
You know, come out clear?
I mean, hear you light.
Wonder why.
Me hear light, but I can barely hear you.
Is that any better?
Why, me no.
Okay.
Still the same thing.
Okay, me no. Hope the technician is here, so. Hey, technician, check. No, I'm just calling the technician for give me a check. Let me see if there's anything we can do from here, you know.
Yeah, because you hear light on the radio, I can't hear too loud for me like home all the way. Just radio station and them. And then me listen to you same thing and it just low.
Okay, sorry about that. Let me see if the technician is here and we can look at something, you know.
Because me hear you talk about my team. I mean, when I talk about football team, the team don't go no.
Hold the series. Me know that's why I'm hold the series ago.
Wait, I'm here so just go how can you ask me? It's so dangerous to be.
Hey.
But the man and them now step up to how them supposed to step up. Like even with Bastard series. But they disappoint me, man. But they used to take the ball, take over the game, and, you know, make everybody see that happy. But like you Chimble right now.
Who that?
Jimmy Butler.
But, Ressa, you of all persons should know. You of all persons should know that basketball is about matchup.
No, but this, remember you play. No, I don't Virginia. What? Remember you play one certain role from ever since the beef, because Butler started to the first series against Bucks. But if they dominant, nobody could have stopped him, nobody could have blocked him, nobody could have done nothing big.
No, man.
And when the man go feature line, you can say he actually 90% in the miss. But like I even shoot, even me watch again, even if it's from the fourth game against Boston Beef, from the fourth game they can't find it.
But I don't really watch much of Butler before they reach Boston, right?
Yes.
But one minute from the Boston series, so long as they throw size at Butler, he have a problem. So if you notice, when they used to put Jaylen Brown from Butler, he never really explode.
No,
and Denver team naturally big. All the matchup on them for Denver are big people. You go against Garden.
Let me tell you, going back to Boston series, Brown, all of them go for the base. Come in, you know, if you watch the whole series.
Bro, when Brown Penny. When they switch over with Brown to
none of them could have marked base. None of them could have tapped.
Anyway, go ahead.
The first 3 games.
Hey, watch it, man. Don't take your blow and tap complain, man. Don't tap cry shit. Tap cry, man.
No, but you see the coach and all.
Hey,
the coach make some real bad
decisions. I don't want to hear no.
Real bad
decisions. Take your blow and tap cry, man.
Hey?
Take your blow and tap cry. Take your blow and tap cry.
All right.
You're lucky you win one game.
Let me left right there. Hopefully the target come Monday and pull them back.
Wait,
but
today
two other things we want to touch on. But first thing, coming up to the airport base. Come on, man. Look at me. Go on Hodges Bay and the light no shit go on Hodges Bay. How come airport wouldn't have a light base?
Good question.
This airport board dark like a cemetery. You know, what am I do? Them wait for what happen by Friday road, somebody get knocked down and then they start put up lights.
It looks so. Come call for them for do it before that.
But beef, I have to wait after the fete to do something. We're not supposed to do it right away. Beef.
Me agree. When
the half done board, that's when I want to fix up. And then going up into airport, beef. Wait, how come airport so dead?
Oh, so?
Dead. Nobody tall, nobody. Then the taxi man, nothing tall. Up they just, wait, what? Today Saturday. Wow, and an airline going on. Nothing come to Antigua, head out Antigua.
Maybe all the flights then not coming and going.
Okay, so that means that's it, and everybody gone. I mean, they're like a ghost town. Our international airport beef like ghost town.
Well, I think certain flights like left maybe about after 8, 9 o'clock, and then you know, nothing much after that. No, remember the Africans and then now come now.
But you realize that after 8, right? 8:37, right?
Yeah, but maybe the big flight then gone out early. I'll have to ask somebody about that.
Okay, well, me not know that, but up there, it look nice as an airport, international airport, from the officers be. And the one to the west, beef, oh God, Jack, and even do something that day.
What do down there now? That's the old terminal?
The old terminal, meter.
I don't know what they do down there. I don't know what they use on it to do.
Well, nothing down there that me say, and then even, not like to tell you, going back to even Stanford, you know, regardless of what happened and why you do and really, but they tell you, when Stanford will have a place up there will look way better. Now, driving into the airport, beef, it dark like a cemetery.
No lights are going into the airport?
The athletic place coming in, to all the building of Stanford Bill.
Coming into where Observer used to be?
Yeah.
There's no light down there?
Even all the building coming west.
There's no light down there?
That's what you tell the king.
Okay.
At that, base, at David just come from just a while. So at that, me tell you. Come on, man. That's what me tell you. Me come on hard this day, and the road light up. You can see if I wanted to do that, how come I can't? And even come down job back too. Oh, lad, that. Then even light up on the man. The medical school going down there. Oh, lad, man. Then even do something better than that, man. Me not boy. Like them people that take over and what? Anyway, my brother. I hear one little song on the radio this afternoon, yeah. Pertaining to what the Prime Minister says. Me one day say here, because he was talking something pertaining to the land, the job work where we been turned down.
Mm-hmm.
You hear me, brother?
Yes. Me hear you.
Yes. Because he did say that's why he hope you aware and you keep an eye on the land and see what's going on. And we never get to hear of things. So, me love you for give me a good update about them. About update, what they have something in mind for do update. What somebody can develop update.
Well, what me can tell you.
Hey, babe?
You hear, well, you now hear me, so you hear me any better?
No.
Oh, boy.
But that's why me want you to hear what me say, and then you can answer me when I come off the phone, so everybody can hear what I'm going to cause. Me know, the Prime Minister call your name about update, you need to keep an eye on the land and railway. I want to chop it. So, but I know if you know the full details about it, so you can get out and listen about it. And me know, you have the same set of people that listen to Fight FM, that listen to this radio station as well to beef.
That's true.
So then they can hear the full line of the full details about what the Prime Minister was really talking about. Okay.
Okay.
You hear my brother?
Yes, man.
All right, my brother. But still, see what the technician and then can do now, you know what I mean, for keep up. I mean, if you just from a radio alone, we can't really hear you properly.
All right, well, let me see if anybody else say anything.
All right, my brother, sit on. Well, answer us, King. Answer the nation. I can't hear what I want, my brother.
All right, man.
All right, King, respect.
Thank you. But Russell, you start out the bat fast, boy. Yes, I heard the statement that the Prime Minister made. I have the recording and I haven't yet isolated, relevant parts to me anyway. So that's why I can't really play it back at this point in time, because I haven't isolated it as yet, as I said. But I did hear what he said, and my understanding of what he said. He was speaking about AUA, and I think that they're having some sort of a seminar or something next year, I believe it is. And he was speaking about they're building a convention center, I think it is said. And he did make a statement to the effect that Beef said he would have kept, Beef said something about the building or something, and he would be keeping an eye on something and something and something, something to that effect. But I normally like to repeat what people say. I like to play what them say so that they can accuse me. But that was my understanding of what he had said. And when I heard what the Prime Minister said, I smiled to myself, because I think the Prime Minister should have a fair idea as to how I operate, how I am. And I think he understands that I'm not really too careless with certain things. So that whole situation up there, when I recognized what was happening, initially the entire board, let's leave no one man or woman out, the entire board was against what was happening. As a matter of fact, the commissioner was the one who floated the idea to the board as to some ways in which the board could have preserved certain things for the benefit of free trade zone. There was a proposal made to the government some time ago, apparently. It took some time before it came to the board. It was only after questions was being asked of me as chairman that I was trying to find out what exactly was happening. I had to call the commissioner to find out what was what, etc. Anyway, to cut a long story short and to deal specifically with what the Prime Minister had said, I'm so sorry I don't have it isolated so that I could have played exactly what he said. Just like you, Rasai, on your way either going to or coming from the airport, I was coming from the airport a few weeks ago, months ago, and I saw a foundation being laid. I'm sure that the Prime Minister would have gone and seen what was happening, and the Prime Minister should know that where that building is being built have absolutely nothing to do with parcel 47. That was the parcel number before it was subdivided. I'm sure that the Prime Minister should know that what is being put down is being put down just to the left as you go into the compound from the I believe that would be the main gate in terms of vehicular traffic, just on the left hand side here. And the parcel that we were talking about would have been you could use the north side where the kite, they have this kite surfing, come around on the beach, go down to just off the pier for where about Camp Blizzard, where Defense Force use, come back west from there, taking in where the university have a kind of, I think it might have been a workshop or something like that, made out of some containers, come right down to the parking lot, then you're going back north now, I would say maybe about 200 yards from the fence, going back north, then you come back west as you go up, out to the fence, and then you come right up along the road. So, where that building is going on now, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm sure that you know that's not a part of the parcel 47. First thing. But having opened the door, Mr. Prime Minister, and putting it out there, what I would want to suggest to you, and I know that you're a man of transparency and openness and all them kind of stuff, what I would want to suggest to you, Mr. Prime Minister, is that you make public, share with the public, share on your show. They normally put up things on Facebook. Share on your show the lease that was given to the government to sign. Let me say it slowly so that people don't misunderstand what I'm saying. These are the things that I would want to suggest to you, Mr. Prime Minister, that you make public, so that Antigua and Barbuda can see that's the era that we're in now. We're in the era of openness, transparency, and Antigua lands is Antigua people business. I don't think Antigua lands is the business of no cabinet, whoever that cabinet is. It is Antigua and Barbuda people business, generations to come. So, my suggestion to you, Mr. Prime Minister, the lease that was given to the government to sign by the investor, quote-unquote investor, maybe you could make that public. That's one. There was an opinion that was written to, let me make sure I'm saying the right thing before I say it. Or let me make sure I'm saying the right thing as I say it. I think it was written to the AG and copied to you. If it wasn't copied to you by the two lawyers in the legal department who wrote it, I know that I would have sent it to you in correspondence from the board. That was that note that lease that. I'm just trying to pull it up as okay, here it is. That minute would have been the minute dated February the 8th, 2022 to Steadroy C.O. Benjamin, Attorney General, from Senior Crown Counsel 1, Ministry of Legal Affairs. As I said, the date is February 8, 2022, and the subject is review of lease between Free Trade and Processing Zone and the American University of Antigua. Make that public also, Mr. Prime Minister. That you would know, I'm sure, is a 9-page minute that was written and signed by a Senior Crown Counsel 1 and a Crown Counsel 1. I'm just not going to call the name at this point in time, because I don't have to, so I won't. But I know that you are aware of it. Make that public. That would be the minute that was sent to the minister. That's QT, and it was copied to me as chairman, and also to Mr. Jaron Tabor as the commissioner. And I know for sure that I would have sent this to your attention for your knowledge. And of course, you and I would know that 9-page document told or advised us why we ought not to have signed that same lease that was sent to us, that was sent to the government by the investor. Make that public. Also, Mr. Prime Minister, there was the same legal department wrote a lease that should have been going from who the land belonged to who is invested, not the next way around. And that lease, let me see if there's a date on there. Yes, the 12th of the 3rd month, or the 3rd of the 12th month, I'm not sure which one comes first. 12/3/21. That's the date on it. That is what the legal, well, these persons in the legal department, the two lawyers, they were suggesting what the lease should look like. And then, so that's 3 documents so far. And then you can then give to the public the actual lease that was signed, which turns out to be, I'm told, the original lease that was sent to the government by the investor. So let's go over that again, Mr. Prime Minister. For transparency and openness, and for the benefit of Antigua and Barbuda people who the lands of this country belong to. And these lands should be used in a way to benefit, in my opinion, the people of Antigua and Barbuda. So, 1, the lease that was given to government by the investor. Make that public. 2, the 9-page minute that was written by the 2 lawyers to Mr. Benjamin, copied to myself, Mr. Tabor, and I would have sent that to you for your information. that document would have said why we ought not to have signed the agreement that was given to government. That's the second document. The third document would be the lease agreement that they know, the lawyers in the legal affairs, that they know came up with, which would have been, in my opinion, protective of the assets of Antigua and Barbuda, that being the land. And the third document, what was actually signed, which I have been reliably advised by people in places, was actually the original lease document that was sent to the government by the investor. And I'm sure the Antiguan public is a discerning public. They understand, they can read, they understand what it is. Make those 4 documents available to the public, and I'm sure that after that we'll have a different discussion. And just satisfy yourself. You'll see, I'm sure, that where you see that building is going down, that has not a thing to do with the parcel of land that we're talking about, that I'm just referring to you about, sir.
Up to the last election, I witnessed a fight between you people whistle stoppers and scores of liberals. When I see how battle was felting all over the place, I run into your so building in order to escape. While inside a youngster asks me whose side I'm fighting for, though his question make me angry. I decide to answer. I told him I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in my body. I am too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and their political party in this island. If there's a chip under my skin, it's a national one. So I'm fighting. I'm fighting for the redemption of this nation.
Hey, Rashai. Hey, well, I'm just checking my WhatsApp. I see somebody saying that I'm not coming through clearly. That's true. Hey, Eugene, I'm not sure if you have your ears on. Hey, maybe you can check me. Let me see if you can figure anything out. Also, there's a WhatsApp here saying, hey, truth he talking. Over the airport is run down, looking horrible. I passed there recently, it's bad. Hey, so you look like you're onto something there, Rasai. I'll have to give Max. That's Max Fernandez a call, my member of parliament. And bring it. I think that would probably fall. No, that not gonna fall on the tourism. That fall on the airport.
Friends, I come to the conclusion.
Well, maybe I could mention it to him as his tourism minister. Maybe in the seat.
I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in my body. I am too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and the political party in this island. If there's a chip under my skin, it's a national one. So I'm fighting for the redemption of this nation.
That's one thing with Antiguan people.
Yes, sir.
They sometimes y'all hear things.
I say I fight.
And y'all don't look into it. And then when the shit hit the fan, then I say, wait, that's what I'm going on all the time. I'm not afraid for, find out what happened in y'all interest. Or supposed to be in y'all interest. Hey, something. I didn't really plan to go down the road, coming in, the question could come.
Speaking the political focus intensified.
Okay, let me wait until when the documents of them come public.
Child.
And then we'll go from there.
Hospitalized. Transplant you favor.
Hey, I would find them interested.
In this country.
Especially the amount.
Control you forever.
The least amount in the first one.
Property.
And the least amount in the second one from the legal department.
Mind become.
It would make interested reading.
Whatever you say or do.
That's one thing I know for sure.
Tell them I don't have a red chip in me. Neither is there a blue chip in my body. I am too conscious to be fighting for them service politicians and the political party.
In this island,
if there's a chip under my skin, it's a national one, so I'm fighting.
Believe I take me, make me any fool?
I'm fighting.
No, can't happen.
Nation.
Me not like the rest of them.
I'm fighting.
Hey, money not that important to me. Yes, Papa pay my bills and so. Yeah, but money to motivate me. So me not gonna do too good for certain things. Hey, money is not a motivator for me. Apart from paying my bills, have something to eat. That's it. Me don't want to be a millionaire. Yeah, so let me just put that there and leave the one there, right there. Let me leave the one there right there. So let's see what happens. Rasa, if you're listening, I see somebody say from Florida, everything's coming through good. Well, of course, they would probably follow in either via Facebook Live or the website, so maybe things will be better from that. But glad to hear that. Rasa, let's see if the documents of them are made public, so that the public can read them and consume them and draw their own conclusion, and then they'll make a determination as to whether the lease that was signed was done, they believe, in their best interest or not. Let the people, well, as you know, the big talk around the place now is Shuggy situation. Shuggy, which we're going to be. I'm supposed to be giving Mr. Pumpy a call later. Mr. Pumpy is one of the persons I listen to when it comes to certain things with the law. We don't always agree, but I think he's a thorough gentleman. You can follow his point. Like they say, like when we used to do maths in the olden days, you have to show the side work. So that if you go wrong, instead of not getting none the marks at all, you might get 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, because they can follow you and see where you went wrong, So I like that with Mr. Pumpy. He supports his position with whatever relevant laws he sees fit, and then we can see how it goes, Big up yourself, Jablaki. I'm thinking you that must see just come on the live. Big up yourself, King. Yes, Rasai. So let's see if those documents are made public, and then we will continue the discussion on that. We don't look for all them and done. I mark up the two lease and see the difference in the them and all kinds. So me done. I'm not asking you to do an exercise that I haven't done, but I want to have to do the thing ourselves. Promalco used to say we learn by doing. Sometimes when people tell you all things, I understand the gravity of it until you all do it yourself, and then you all say, wait, something could go wrong, man. What's going on? You know what I mean? So, once the documents to them are made public, Rasai, we'll move on with that. So don't worry ahead. Yes, King. Okay, yeah, that's your Blackie. Well, what's the latest? How are we going to start tonight? Well, I believe that last week, well, this week, or today's Saturday, the UPP have continued its protestation, or its picketing of the Governor General's office. I think initially they were supposed to be picketing for 4 days, but my understanding is, I heard it someplace in the news that they have decided to extend the picketing from 4 days to 17 days, if I'm not mistaken. 4 days to 17 days. So that is ongoing. I'm not sure day number what they're at. If anybody out there has the information and want to share it with the listeners, you could give me a call, 462-1100, or you could send a WhatsApp at 464-4201, 464-4201. Yes, I'm not sure what day they're at. But they should be picketing for 17 days. And if I'm not mistaken, I think I heard it being said that it was 17 persons who were unaccounted for at sea. I hope that's the number. That's how I think they came up with the 17 days. So that's an ongoing thing, where some segment of the society, sizable section, if you ask me, because they say between 8 and 10,000 signatures they have. That's a lot of signatures. Who would want to have an inquiry into the whole Antigua Airways situation from the beginning, and for reasons best known to the government, they seemed hell bent on not wanting to have that public investigation, public inquiry. I thought I heard the Prime Minister saying that when the inquiry was held into medical benefits, evidence was being showed in terms of checks were being printed by Tim Hector in the outlet, etc. I think that's what I heard him to say. As a matter of fact, you know what? Let me play the recording, because I didn't know that politicians were getting checks and all that kind of stuff. But I'll let him speak for himself when I get the recording, and then people can tell me whether that is in fact true. But you know, I might have been a little bit younger then, maybe not too versed in following the politics at the time. But yeah, that's what the Prime Minister said, and he would have wanted for persons to show evidence now that would assist the government to go the route that people would want them to go. I don't maybe I don't understand it. I heard he said today, and I remember the question was put to him like that in Parliament. I went back to listen to it, and I did come across the recording where he said these persons that came, they had a return ticket. Now, maybe I'm wrong again, and persons can help me. If I'm wrong, just correct me. 462-1100, 464-4201. If you come to a country and you have a return ticket, and whatever goes wrong, you gotta get on the return ticket and go back home. Did I miss something there? I don't know. But I heard that. So when I heard that, I said to myself, okay. But these are the things that the inquiry, the public inquiry, would go through. You know, these are the questions, or some of the questions, and other things I'm sure would come up, so that we know. And I mean, Prime Minister and the government can talk and say. If they believe that their story is being bought by the majority of people in Antigua, all right. Time will tell. But I don't think. If you all don't know, sir, I don't think that what is being said is being bought. And I'm not saying that to say one thing one way or the next. I'm just saying, it not being bought, we should put ourselves in a position to know. And if what the government is saying is true, that will come out in the public inquiry. And if there's other things to come out in the public inquiry, that will come out in the public inquiry too. So I don't see why there's this fight, almost to the death for that. But I guess there's some other things there that we don't know that might be playing. But let's wait and see. I'm not sure what's going to happen after the protest, 17 days. I'm not sure if they have anything else planned. Ultimately, I would want to believe that the matter should go before the court, because you know, different lawyers have different opinions. Up to today, I'm listening to part of the program with the Prime Minister, and they were talking about, hey, the Governor General got 3 independent opinions, or blah, blah, blah. I'm not doubting that. But I remember them saying that the cabinet got 2. But how they not talk about them today? Remember last week, it was last week or week before last, I was saying about word on the street was that certain things were shared with the cabinet, and some persons ran with it as if they were theirs. It was theirs. I haven't heard the cabinet, the Prime Minister yet say again, stand to be corrected, that they would have gotten, the cabinet would have gotten, or the AG would have gotten 2 independent opinions that were shared with the cabinet. Everybody's talking about the 3 opinions that the Governor General got. But when you talk to a lot of people, and a lot of people talk to you, you hear a lot of things. You hear a lot of things. You learn a lot of things. So who knows? Just like how I'm asking for the documents to be made public, the Governor General have made his opinions public. I don't see why the cabinet would not want to make their opinions public. Let's hope and see. I was calling for it last week. I think a week would have passed. We haven't seen it yet. Let's call for it for another week and see what happens. Let's call for it for one more week and see if the cabinet shares with the public the independent opinion that they got to go along with the independent opinion that the Governor General got. There should be 5 independent opinions according to what they tell us. We keep hearing about 3. What about the other one? So I would want to believe that the matter is going to end up in front of the court, should end up in front of the court, for the court to make a determination as to whether the GG has the authority, yes or no. I think. I'm not a legal person. I'm guided by them, so I guess we'll hear as we go along. I've been following the discussions, and I am of the opinion that the Governor General do have that right. One thing that had impressed me about the people who were advocating for the fact that the GG has the right was that they were able to point to section of laws, and the persons in them who was on the other side, they were not able to. As a matter of fact, today I heard the Prime Minister saying something to the effect that and I made a note of it, left it at home, that Mr. Simon and Miss Henry, they were speaking to some archaic law. And I smiled to myself when I heard that, because as far as I heard from the two legal persons, was that they made reference to the Constitution. So then I was wondering to myself if the Constitution was an archaic law, if I understood what archaic means. So I just smiled when I heard it. And as I listened to the discussion, I don't know if some people in position understands that whether or not you like something, if that is the law, that is the law. And if you have the numbers in Parliament or the will of the people behind you to change certain laws, then you do it. But the law is the law. You can't just ignore the law. I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. And I have an issue with a particular lawyer. I'm not gonna call his name as yet. But I remembered about 2 weeks ago or so when Mr. Pompey was here. He WhatsApp, and he was of a certain opinion, and Mr. Pompey pointed him to the section of the Constitution that gave the Governor General executive rights. And whether or not you believe that the King's representative should have those executive rights, that's your opinion. But if that's the law, that's the law. If that's the Constitution, that's the Constitution. And as I listened to the discussion today, I felt that coming true, where persons have certain things in their mind as to what they think it should be. But it doesn't necessarily mean that because you think what you think it should be, it is what it is in law. And when the lawyer in question, after Mr. Pompey gave the information, he WhatsApped back and he agreed with Mr. Pompey. And he agreed that was something in the Constitution that we ought to amend and that kind of stuff. And I still hear him saying that he don't think that the GG has the right to call it when he himself accepts what the Constitution say. But that's how it is with some of these bright people that we have in our society. But in time, I will have that discussion with him, I'm sure. And then when I have to call his name, if I have to call his name, then I will. But you need to make up your mind, sir. You need to make up your mind. It's not about what you think. I think it's about what is on the books. I might not like, or I might like to see certain things happen under certain circumstances. But if the law says this is what happened, that's what they're bounded by. That's why the police is saying that, hey, what we can do and what we can't do in relation to children who carry out certain acts is determined by the law. I think it's a Child Justice Act or whatever they call it. They say that, hey, if the things here can't carry them, they're prison. There must be a place to hold them, and there's no place to hold them. What are we gonna do? What can we do? We can't their prison, So that's how it is when you have laws. You have to follow them, and if they find that they're not adequate, then you amend them to suit the situation that the majority of people in the country would like to see. So the protest for the UPP continues, I believe, tomorrow. I must ask some questions of some people to see if they will share with me what the plan might be going forward after the protest is done. Ultimately, I think it needs to go to court so that we can get a ruling and it gets settled so that, we get that right there. And let me just say, I see a lot of people, I said it last time, I'm going to say it again. I see a lot of people going home about constitution this and constitution that and change constitution. I'm not for that. I am for taking our time. I think that the more I see things happening, the sugar thing is another issue that we're going to be touching. The more I see things happening, is the more I see the wisdom, forefathers and foremothers who contributed to the present day constitution that we have. So that is just my personal thing there on that one. The latest on the Alfa Nero, the sale of the Alfa Nero. I haven't heard nothing on that recently. I don't know what's up. Well, the last thing I would have heard was, what was the last thing I heard? Was when Mr. What's the gentleman's name? Sanders indicated that government was put in a position that they can auction the boat once it is not auctioned to somebody who America have a problem with. That's how I understood. Those are my words. Once that's the case, then we're supposed to be able to auction the boat. That might have been about a week ago or so. I haven't heard nothing on the news, and I did not hear nothing from the Prime Minister today. I did tune in maybe about half an hour after the program started, so I'm not sure whether he spoke to it in the first half hour. But I haven't heard nothing again in relation to the auctioning of the boat. I would have thought that the fact that we're in the hurricane season and anything can happen and it can sink and all them kind of stuff, that they would be wanting to complete this thing as quickly as possible. But again, maybe the Prime Minister said something before I tuned in. Let me see if anything is on the WhatsApp board in relation to that. No, I haven't seen that yet. So I don't know what's the latest on the auctioning of the Alfa Nero. But if anybody out there have any information, give me a call, 462-1100, or send me a WhatsApp on 464-4201, and bring me up to speed on what is happening there. Okay, the person who was asking about Jablaki, apparently he wasn't listening earlier, but I'll get back to that. A little later. When did your birthday greeting, Annette? I don't know when did I have that in my phone? Maybe I never did. But let me know when is your birthday, Annette. I'm not sure if it is today, if it passed already, or if it's coming in the near future. But I don't think I have that written down in my diary, so I might have missed that. My apologies for that. But let me know, or I'll give you a WhatsApp. I'll send you a WhatsApp tomorrow to try and get that information. I don't think I had that in my phone, because if I had it in my phone, it would have showed up on my calendar. So I doubt it if I have that in my phone. Annette, no, I don't have it in my phone. Yes. No, well, I have a birth date in here. Annette, I don't know if I have the right date. I wouldn't tell you what date it is on the radio, but I'll touch base with you for your pastor. Where did you send that greeting there, Annette? I don't see it on my WhatsApp board. Maybe I missed it. I'm not sure. You sent it on ZDK's board. What was ZDK sent it on? I don't know. I'm using 464-4201 in relation to WhatsApps, and I haven't seen that on there. I don't know if there's another WhatsApp number that ZDK has. Oh, on Facebook. But I'm on Facebook here. Annette, I'm tracking it on my computer. And I don't see nothing. I didn't see nothing. Happy birthday. Oh, yes. Now I'm seeing it. Now I'm seeing it. Sending out happy birthday wishes to Pastor Mrs. Lucina Richard of our Happy Bunch family program in Antigua and Barbuda. Oh, she's celebrating today. Pastor Lucina Richard is celebrating today. We're wishing you long life and health and happiness. And Pastor Lucina Richard, you have those greetings coming to you from Annette James Brown in Florida and from the Happy Bunch family all over the world. Okay, sorry about that, Annette. I saw it late. That was up in the feed. I didn't, it passed me coming down. Sorry about that. Yes, so that's birthday greetings going out to Pastor Mrs. Lucina Richard of the Happy Bunch family program. I gather that is a group of persons who are here on ZDK after 12 o'clock, I believe they said, going down into the morning, praying, etc., etc. The Happy Bunch, I hope I have that correct. The pastor is celebrating, so happy birthday to you, Pastor. Yes, so as I was saying, Alpha Nero, I'll hear some more about that if somebody don't bring me up to date. I don't see nothing on the WhatsApp board in relation to that. I see some other things, but I don't see nothing in relation to Alpha Nero. So we'll see where that goes. For the past couple of, it has to be at least 3 weeks. At least 3 weeks. In my quiet time at home, I remembered some time ago reading and researching on the internet a particular prophet in the Bible who walked around Jerusalem with a yoke on his neck for, I think it might have been 20 years, warning the people of what is to come because they might have strayed from the teachings of the Almighty. And I don't know, that came to me, and I ignored it. When I say ignored it, I just didn't. And then another damn day again in my quiet time, and it came back to me again, and I went and I looked for it. And it was actually in the book of Jeremiah, where that was the case. And I came across a short review of the situation, and as I said, I had it like about 3 weeks now, and I just feel that I should share it with the listeners. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share that with the listeners, and then when I come back from that, I'm going to see if I could get in touch with Mr. Pompey, so that we could get his views on this situation with Shugi, from him being elected, being challenged, etc., etc., etc. We'll hear his opinion and see whether or not we can agree with him, or if we have a difference of opinions, and then we'll then go to a break thereafter. So let me go to this little summary, share that with the people, and then see if I could get in touch with Mr. Pompey. You're listening to 97.1 FM, ZDK Liberty Radio. Stay tuned.
The book of the prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah was an Israelite priest who lived and worked in Jerusalem during the final decades of the kingdom of southern Judah. He was called as a prophet to warn Israel about the severe consequences of breaking their covenant with God through their idolatry and injustice, and he even predicted that the empire of Babylon would come as God's servant to bring this judgment on Israel by destroying Jerusalem, taking the people into exile. And sadly, his words became reality. Jeremiah lived through the siege and destruction of Jerusalem and witnessed the exile personally. Now, this book came into existence in a really interesting way. Chapter 36 tells us that after 20 years of Jeremiah's preaching in Jerusalem, God called him to collect all of his sermons and poems and essays and commit them to writing, which Jeremiah did by employing a scribe named Baruch, who wrote down and compiled all of this material into a scroll. Now, Baruch also gathered lots of stories about Jeremiah, and he linked all the pieces together. And so this is why the book reads like an anthology, a collection of collections. It's all been arranged to present this prophet as a messenger of God's justice and grace. So the book begins with God calling Jeremiah to be a prophet, and he's given a dual vocation. He will be a prophet to Israel, but also to the nations. And his words will both uproot and tear down, but also plant and build up. In other words, he's going to accuse Israel and warn them of God's coming judgment, but he also has a message of hope for the future. Now, this opening perfectly summarizes the first large section, chapters 1 to 24. It's a collection of Jeremiah's writings from before the exile. And the core idea here is that Israel has broken the covenant with God and violated all the terms of the agreement they made that are written in the Torah. And in a number of ways. They've adopted the worship of all kinds of Canaanite gods, building idol shrines all over the land, and Jeremiah develops the metaphor of idolatry as adultery, and uses the language of prostitution, promiscuity, unfaithfulness to describe how Israel has given their allegiance to other gods. Jeremiah also repeatedly accuses Israel's leaders. The priests, the kings, the other prophets have all become corrupt. They've abandoned the Torah and the covenant, which has led to a tragic result: rampant social injustice. The most vulnerable people in Israelite communities, the widows, the orphans, the immigrants, were all being taken advantage of in clear violation of the laws of the Torah, and Israel's leaders didn't even seem to care. So a classic place where all of these ideas come together is in chapter 7. It's called Jeremiah's Temple Sermon. The Israelites are coming to worship their God in the temple as if everything is just fine, but outside the temple they are worshiping other gods, and some were even adopting the horrifying Canaanite practice of child sacrifice. And so Jeremiah makes his very unpopular announcement. The God of Israel is coming in judgment. He's going to destroy his own temple and punish Israel by sending an enemy from the north. This is an army that God would allow to conquer Jerusalem, and as you read on, you discover he's talking about the great empire of Babylon. And so this all leads up to a transition in chapter 25. Israel hasn't turned back to their God, and so in the first year of Babylon's new king, Nebuchadnezzar, God tells Jeremiah to announce that the Babylonian armies are headed for Israel and all of its neighbors to conquer them and take them into exile for 70 years. He compares Babylon to a cup of wine filled to the brim with God's just anger at all of Israel's injustice and idolatry, and God will make Israel and the nations drink from this cup. Now, this chapter is key to the book's design because everything that follows is going to focus on Babylon's coming attack. First on Israel in chapters 26 to 45, and then on the other nations in chapters 46 to 51. The section about Israel first contains stories about how Jeremiah begged Israel to turn back, how he warned them right up to the last minute, but the leaders of Israel kept rejecting him. This section concludes with a large collection of stories about how Jerusalem was under siege and eventually destroyed by Babylon, and about how Jeremiah was persecuted all through that time and eventually kidnapped and taken against his will to Egypt by a group of Israelite rebels. Now, right here in the middle, in between all of these dark stories of disaster and judgment, is a collection of Jeremiah's messages of hope for Israel's future. So he picks up on Moses' prediction that after Israel had broken the covenant and gone into exile, see Deuteronomy 30, God would not abandon his people. Rather, he would renew his covenant with them and transform their hearts. Jeremiah develops this promise, and he says that God is going to one day inscribe the laws of the Torah, not on tablets, but rather on the hearts of his own people. He's going to heal their rebellion so that they can truly one day love and follow him fully. And so one day, Israel will return back to the land, and the Messiah from the line of David is going to come, and that's when all nations will come to recognize Israel's God as the true God. So these chapters are showing that despite Israel's apostasy, God is not going to let Israel's sin get the final word. Rather, his own faithfulness will bring about the fulfillment of his promises, no matter what. After this, we find the large collection of poems about how God is going to use Babylon to judge the nations around Israel. So Egypt, Philistia, Moab, Edom, Ammon, Damascus, Hazor. But then, surprisingly, the longest poems are saved for last, and they're about God's coming judgment on Babylon itself. So although God used this nation to execute his justice, God doesn't endorse their violence and idolatry, and so Babylon too will come under the standard of God's justice. And so Jeremiah denounces this nation's pride and injustice as well. Now, Babylon is larger than life in these poems, and it reminds us of the image of Babylon all the way back from Genesis chapter 11. Babylon has become the archetypal rebellious nation. In their glorification of wealth and war, God's going to give this nation over to its own destruction. The book concludes with a story taken from the end of the book of 2 Kings. It tells about Babylon's final attack on Jerusalem, how they destroyed the city walls and burned the temple and took the people into exile. The story shows how Jeremiah's warnings of judgment from chapters 1 through 24 were fulfilled. But then the chapter ends with a short story about the captive Israelite king Jehoiakim. He's heir to the line of David. And the king of Babylon releases him from prison and shows him favor and invites him to eat at the royal table for the rest of his life, and that's how the book ends. So it's a little glimmer of hope. And this recalls Jeremiah's promises of hope from chapters 30 to 33. God hasn't abandoned his people or the promise of a future coming king from David's line. And so while this book contains a huge amount of warning and judgment, the final words conclude with a note of hope for the future. And that's what the book of Jeremiah is all about.
Oh, yes, the book of Jeremiah. So, as I said, that has been on my mind, and I decided I wanted to come and share it with the listeners. And I would encourage you to, for those of you who would be interested, to go and read it and understand what happens to a nation, what happens to a people when they get away from serving the true and living God. We hear some things in our society about certain things, accepting certain people, lifestyle, etc., etc., etc. It all comes with a consequence, and I really believe that. Good night. On the line with me, I have Mr. Pompey, former Commissioner of Police. How are you doing, sir?
I'm very well, thank you, Beef.
How are you doing? Well, you know that when it comes to certain issues, I like to lean on you for your opinion. We might not always agree, but to get a different side of things. Within recent times, the issue of Kelvin, I think it's Kelvin Shuggy Simon, from the member of parliament, the former member of parliament now for the St. Mary's South constituency. He won the elections, and then there was a challenge in relation to whether or not he was duly nominated. My understanding is that case should have come up next month, sometime early next month, I believe, and he would have resigned, and himself and his camp believe that having resigned, that should trigger a by-election, which should be called no later than 120 days after the resignation. There has been much debate about it, and I thought I wanted to tap on you, lean on you a bit to hear what your opinion is, that we could have a discussion about that. But before you go to that, Mr. Pompey, let me just return a bit to the situation with the call for a public inquiry into the African saga. That's what I refer to it as. The Governor General would have secured 3 opinions. The AG/Cabinet would have secured 2 opinions. And there's 2 opinions, or there's 1 opinion from 2 King's Council, I believe, Mr. Simon and Miss Henry, saying opposite. Can this matter go to court?
No, this matter is not one for the court.
So outside of the picketing and them kind of stuff, what happens after that?
Well, as usual, if people are dissatisfied with any development within the nation, particularly where they have an interest, and more particularly, and I'm referring now to the Commission of Inquiry Act that speaks to the public welfare. It doesn't speak to anything else but the public welfare. And so, but let me say this for the benefit. I don't want to jump in there yet before saying good night to the people of Point and Grace Farm.
Sure.
Because when I finish here, they should be able to understand exactly what is happening. But I don't want to discriminate against the people of Freetown, or Bowlands, or Old Road.
Old Road, I was just about to say that.
And all the other places that I work. The only place I have not worked in the police service is Willie Keys, notwithstanding the fact that I worked at Parham and I also work at Freetown. But I work in all the divisions, all the departments. So I just want to say good night to them and to bring them a little understanding of some of these issues. Some of them I know as an officer where you have to go to certain places to perform your duties, mostly to stand by and listen and to maintain order because you're not participating in what they're doing. So you get to know exactly what is happening. And if you read the laws, you don't have to go to a law school and graduate with a law degree. And the opinions that the lawyers will give, because they have a legal practice, it is called a legal opinion. But it doesn't mean anything. The lawyers themselves will tell you it doesn't mean anything. That is how they see things. And it is no different to yours, how you see it. What will happen is that we have a judiciary, which is the court system. If we have issues that we do not like or we do not understand, those issues are taken before the judiciary, who interprets the law. The parliament makes the law, but they don't interpret it. What they do, they put a mischief, not the mischief that people make on other people. They put an aim in it as to what should happen. And so those who are enforcing the law or those who are administrating the law, it's not all the law, all the laws are enforceable criminally. Some of them are administrative, as in the case of a commission of inquiry, or even as in the case of the Police Act. The Police Act doesn't create no offense for anybody. That is for the commissioner to look at things, see what is there, impose upon him, that he must do to allow the organization to function, and not just function. That whatever is to be done, particularly in the area of crime prevention and detection and prosecution, he must do the best he can to ensure that as far as practicable, the laws are enforced to protect the citizens, good, the bad, the evil, the indifferent. That is his function. But coming back to the Commission of Inquiry and the Governor General, what people seem not to understand is that the Governor General represents His Majesty the King. Prior to the departure of Queen Elizabeth II, it was to Her Majesty then. But as it stands now, it is to the King. And the King, wherever the King reigns, whether in Antigua or in England or Australia or even Canada, the King can do no wrong. I don't need to repeat that. And I'm taking my time because I want people to understand. A governor general does not need any legal opinion from anybody. Neither from me, neither from Sir Gerald, neither from the people that we are told in the news that he has received to opinion. No governor general needs any opinion from anybody. What a governor general needs is the advice of the London Privy Council. And let me spell council for you. It's not the SCOUNCEL. It's not that one. COUNCIL. These are the people who advises. Well, back then it was Her Majesty, but now her son, His Majesty.
Hold on.
Those you would have heard awarded King's Council, COUNSEL. Those people never did anything for Her Majesty nor His Majesty. But they have made their contribution to the legal profession. And then the King or Queen would have awarded them. It is just an award.
Hold on there, Mr. Bobby. Did you say that the king...
You're coming through very faintly.
I don't know what's happening on my end. Is that any better?
I can hear you, but I can tell it's faint.
Let me see if I could do anything here. I don't know. Anything else there better?
Not to me.
All right. Let me just try.
I can hear you though.
All right. Repeat. Did you say that the Privy Council advises the king?
Yes.
And the king in this case will be the king's representative.
Pardon me?
The king in this case can be the king's representative.
Yes, of course. The king can't be everywhere. So
Right.
he has, just like the commissioner of police, he can't be everywhere.
So the three opinions that the Governor General got in this issue, were they from the Privy Council?
No, they were not.
Okay.
That's why I say no Governor General needs any opinion from anybody. If he needs advice, he gets it from the London Privy Council, COUNCIL.
Okay.
Not COUNSEL. Those people don't advise the king. And as a matter of fact, those who would have read some judgments coming out from the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council, they call it the JCPC, you would have seen at the end of the judgment, whatever the council decides, they will say, I will advise His Majesty or Her Majesty. So when you're actually making your appeal, it's not to them. It is to the king through them. That is what happened there. Now, the Governor General, and I'm going to read something here. Let me see if I find it quickly. The law is quite clear and the Constitution is quite clear. The Constitution says that the Governor General should act on the advice of the Cabinet. And that is true. That don't need any kind of discussion or argument. And I don't think that is confusing to your listeners right now and to the citizens as a whole. That should not be. That is the Constitution, and the Governor General is guided by that. But in the same section...
What section is that in the Constitution?
Those who gave opinion are not looking at is where it makes an exception. You see, like Canada, at one point in time, said we could travel to Canada without a visa.
Yes.
And then one time when the borders were getting a little porous, where people run in there asking for asylum, they want to be refugees, they want to be everything, economic migrant, everything. Canada tighten up and say, if you want to get in here, we are going to set a policy where you must have a visa. Then recently, I think is this very week earlier on, Canada spin a little googly and said that they are opening up for visa-free travel to Antigua and some other Caribbean islands. That is not really so true. And I'll tell you why it's not true. The news in Antigua did not carry the words known travelers. Beef will come back to the story, but I am making the point to support what I'm going to say based on what you asked.
Yeah, man, sure. Go ahead.
Right. What Canada has stipulated, and the news in St. Vincent, if you go to Eyewitness News now, you'll see it right there. As I visit because I write and I speak on radio stations, I have to follow these things to be up to date. They have their known travelers. Beef, you and I will never be regarded as known travelers because our passport will not show that we went to Uganda, we went to Mexico, we went to Germany, we went to France, we went to the same Canada, then we went to the United States, then we travel all around the world. Our passport will not show that. And the reason that they use the term known travelers is to be sure that you're like a rolling stone, as they would say. You heard that term?
Yes.
You gotta know moss. So you can't be in one place, and Canada will know that you will not stay there. That if you're allowed to visit there as a visitor, you will leave and come back home to Antigua and Barbuda. So it is not really beneficial to a number of people. If you're a regular visitor going on business, and even though they allow you to go in there, let me tell you what is going to happen. You will have to show that you have visible means of support. Or if you have family in Canada where they can support you.
Oh, 1 second there for me, Mr. Pompey.
Sure.
Because as you spoke, I pulled it up. This was an article from the 6th of June. Visa-free travel to Canada for known travelers from SVG and 12 other nations. I would assume that Antigua and Barbuda, well, I see at the podium.
Antigua and Barbuda is part of it,
yes,
yes.
I see the flags at the podium. Canada has announced visa-free travel to known travelers from 13 more countries, including Vincentian passport holders. The announcement by Canada Minister of Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship moments ago means that these known travelers can enter Canada after obtaining an electronic travel authorization. A known traveler is someone who currently holds a Canadian visa, obtained one over the last 10 years, or holds a valid United States visa.
So you see where that leaves me and you, Beef?
Mm-hmm.
And all the other people who might be listening and wants to travel to Canada.
So then if I don't hold a Canadian visa, if I have not obtained one over the last 10 years,
you can't go in
or
there.
If I don't hold a valid visa, United States visa, it doesn't apply to me.
No.
That electronic authorization.
Yeah, right.
I can't get that.
Okay,
I got you.
Now, let's get back to the point. I just wanted to show you it's not whatever you're told something beneficial will be derived by you. It doesn't work that way.
Mm-hmm.
No. You have to look at the language they use and the proviso, the caveat they put in it. And that sometimes if you do not understand it, you will be traveling to, I don't know where they issue their visa, whether it's in Trinidad. I know you once upon a time you had to go to Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know where they issue it now. But it is no point you pay all this amount of money, go to Trinidad, have to pay taxi and get in a hotel, and when you visit the embassy or the High Commission, wherever they call it, that they tell you you're not qualified. You're wasting your money. Right. But I want to read something here, back to what you're saying. Now, while it is true that Cabinet must give the Governor General advice on certain things, that advice to me from the Constitution is not about holding inquiry. And this is why Queen Victoria in 1880 introduced that law that the king, when the people cry out for anything, the king must look into it. That is why, although some of them spoke about 1880, I want to give you the impression that is since, and that is the year I was born, Beef, 1880.
The year who was born?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah, right. So they can't fool me. Right? Now, what they are not saying to the people is that when we became an independent nation on November 1, 1981, the same constitution, and you can go to the back of it, it is called the Transitional Provision, says that all the laws that you were using before, you do not have to go back to Parliament and pass the same laws. I am giving you it from layman term there and language so that you understand. The Constitution says all the laws that you see from 1880 come up, you don't have to go back to Parliament. What you can do, you can make amendments to them. You can modify them. You can repeal them and don't replace them. When you repeal a law and you don't replace it, that law is dead.
As a matter of fact, now, Mr. Pompey, as you say that, right? I was listening to a program some months ago. The gentleman's last name is Hall. I don't remember the first name. He was on, I think it was a Dave Lester Payne program. And he was making the point that when we were coming up to independence, there was an exercise of consulting the people. And he even made mention of my cousin, Paddy James, making or writing some opinion as to, you know, what he would have liked to have seen, etc. And the then cabinet indicated that they were going to put aside, and these are how I'm putting it, put aside that constitution that came out of the consultation with the people, and was going with the one that they came out of cabinet. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I really don't.
But I heard to 2020, if it wasn't this year. I'm going to look for it because I kept the recording.
Yes, well, please do, and I will do some research.
Yes, sure.
Yes, so may I continue?
Yes, sure. Yes, sorry about that.
Now, in the same section that says the Governor General shall, which is mandatory, take advice from the cabinet, which nobody has any issue or problem with. But the same section says, except where there is a bill or a law that allows for the Governor General to exercise his authority, his discretion. Something, any time you get any appointment for anything, you will probably have a statutory discretion. In this case, the Governor General, he has what I call a constitutional discretion. This is not, the Constitution is not statute. The Constitution is the supreme law of Antigua and Barbuda. And those of you who have internet and really wants to know how these things work, you can look at Section 2. And all that Section 2 is saying is if you pass a law that is inconsistent, that does not accord with the spirit of this Constitution, to the extent the inconsistency is going to create problems for the people, because it's the people Constitution, you know. that law would be void. And so the Constitution will prevail over that law. But it's not just about talking. It is about putting it to the judiciary to see if the law violates your constitutional rights. That's what it's all about. And like most of us who do not have money, we can't really institute any proceedings. And the people who have money, they're not bothered by some of the things that are happening. So they have no interest in bringing the matter before the judiciary. But as I told you, I want to read something here from the Constitution. The Constitution, those who framed it, leading up to 1981 to the independence, they knew that at some point in time, a Governor General who has testicular fortitude. You understand that term, Beef?
What that mean, balls?
Yes.
All right.
Or vaginal fortitude.
What? They had those?
That is the female reproductive organ. You see, and one person who showed that she has that was Governor General Dame Louise Lake Tack. She was not an easy nut to crack. But anyway, the framers anticipated that a Governor General would be tough, and he will take the bull by the horn and do what he feels he should do, constitutionally and by his conscience and with good reason. Because you just can't go and do anything willy-nilly. Hear what he says here. Certain questions not to be inquired into in any court, whereby the Constitution, the Governor General, is required to perform any function in accordance with the advice of Cabinet, the Prime Minister, or any other minister, or the leader of the opposition, that is Her Majesty's loyal opposition, or any other person, body, or authority, or after consultation with any person, body, or authority, the question whether the Governor General has received or acted in accordance with such advice, or whether such consultation has taken place, shall not be inquired into in any court of law. That is telling me and you that though the Governor General shall act on the advice of Cabinet, if he's tough and don't want to take no advice from Cabinet and act, there's nothing they can do with that. But I can tell you, that Governor General would not last as long as a hot cup of coffee. Will not last. He will have to go, because government will see that this Governor General is not supporting its policies. It's not action now, it's policies. Government policies, you have to respect them. And I learned that early o'clock in the police service. There was a gentleman in the police service named Mr. Roy Fitzgerald Baptiste. Does that ring a bell to you, Beef?
Yeah, I think he was on Montserrat.
All right, yeah. Very good Deputy Commissioner of Police.
Yeah, have a son by name of Delbert. Good night, Delbert.
This is not to say that the other commissioners like Sir Wright, Mr. Potter.
What become of him, though, just Mr. Baptist?
But he passed on.
Oh, he passed on. Condolences. Condolences, Delbert.
All right. This is not to say that the other commissioners never respect government policies.
Mm-hmm.
All who sat in the commissioner's chair respect it. When government makes a policy, whether you like it or you don't like it, you have to support it. That's government policy. If if it's something that affects your department directly and you don't want to respect it, all you have to do is to resign, retire, and go home. Simple. You don't fight the government because you can't win government. We have seen the struggles of Mr. Robinson.
But let me ask a question. Don't move off too far. Remember your last point. In relation to not being able to, government policy, whether you agree with it or not. If enough persons in the society have and maintain high integrity, that they would not allow themselves to be used by a government, because the fact that the government wants them, or they have to do certain things in relation to policy, is because the ministers can't do it. So the ministers would need, for instance, somebody to sign a lease document. But if you believe that lease arrangement would not be good for the country in years to come, then you would resign. If there's enough people who has those, share the same opinion, have that kind of testicular fortitude, you don't believe that would force government persons who holds member position in the House, you don't believe that would force them to govern in a manner more consistent with the people?
Not so easy, beef, and I'm speaking for my Grace Farm and fine people. Beef, it doesn't work that way, and I do not want you to entertain that kind of argument or thought. You have to face reality. Whoever governs the country, they rule until when you go to the polls and you change. And every 5 years in Antigua and Barbuda, like the rest of the region, and at least my home country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is 5 years. But some people will be bold and brave, like Prime Minister Gaston Brown. He's a brave fellow, because you would have noted, I think, 2 or 3 elections, he never waited until the 5-year term comes. He would have spotted something. He would have been guided by the pollsters and the political advisors, and he moves. And every time he moves, he wins. Sometimes a gamble you have to take. If you go in King's Casino, you might be playing, and there are some machines in it that they call one-arm bandit. They will just take away all your money. But I think you can go and get some chip from them, borrow from them, and play, and take back some of the money. That's how these things go. But you cannot fight government. And those who are in position now in the government, and I'm referring now in the public service, in the civil service, they're virtually helpless. Because if government makes a policy, they have to carry it out. If they don't like it, all they have to do is to step aside. There are people out there willing to go inside there and do what they don't want to do.
They do what the party do. What the party say.
Well, I am not sure what party now. I'm dealing with government.
Okay, they do what the government say.
Yes, if that is the policy, because these are policy that is taken at the executive level. Remember, we have the 3 arms of government. The legislature, that is the first one. This is when the people go out and they vote people to go in parliament. They don't vote them to go in government. They vote them to go in parliament to represent them in parliament. And those who are the majority, and the Governor General recognize that a person commands the support of the majority of members of the House. You will hear that, and you will read that in the Constitution. It's not the number of people one party has. It's the number of people who entered the sacred halls of Parliament. That is the person who will be appointed to be the leader, to be the Prime Minister. And then the Prime Minister wants you or me to be a minister. That power resides with the Prime Minister, nobody else. If it were not so, Mr. Robin Yearwood would not have been Deputy Speaker of the House. He might have been the same minister for APUA. It doesn't work that way. And that is reality. And as you call it, what you call your program, Beef?
Real talk.
Real talk, right. But let me get to the Shugi matter.
Yes.
I learned from my research that Shugi went to study theology. That has nothing to do with a man who decides he doesn't want to go down that road anymore and get into politics. Right, he's a young man, 42, and he decides he could make a contribution to his nation. And our Constitution, and I always tell people, the first part of the Constitution are the founding constitutional principles. These are the principles where the people, not the politicians, where the people have proclaimed the supremacy of God, that they believe in the social justice, they believe in a system of law that governs the country, and they themselves put in it that the country itself must be obedient to the law. Those who govern or be part of government must obey the law itself. That is the first part of it. So the young man now decides he wants to do that. But along the way, either bad legal advice or bad guidance. I don't know which of them, so I'm not pointing my finger at anyone, nobody. But I can tell you something. And I want to go to our Constitution to point out this first. Public office. So we are guided by the Constitution, nothing else. Public office. And what it says here means any office. And I'm reading from the Constitution. I didn't write this. It means any office of emolument in the public service and includes an office of emolument in the police force. So it's not just the civil servants and teachers and nurses, public officers, police officers too. You didn't know that, Beef?
No, yes. I didn't.
Well, it's written here in the Constitution. Now, public service now means, subject to the provisions of this section, the service of the crown, that is, of the nation of Antigua and Barbuda. And the service of the crown here is the service of His Majesty now, represented by the Governor General. As a matter of fact, the executive authority is placed in the Governor General, who could either perform the duties directly or delegate duties to be performed by officers subordinate to him, like the Prime Minister, the Attorney General, the Minister of Education, Lands and Fisheries, Agriculture, all these, Foreign Minister. But the Constitution, certain parts will tell you that you must have a Prime Minister and you must have an Attorney General. Those are the two offices you will see there. You wouldn't see Ministry of Education.
Some people believe that the foreign minister should be equal to that.
well, I am not telling you what I believe. I don't believe a thing. I don't believe I'm going to hell.
When I heard the stupidness, I just laughed.
You hear that, Beef?
Huh?
I don't even believe I'm going to hell when I die.
Oh, okay, all right.
No?
Boy, them people
now,
are retarded.
Public officer, you need to know this, means a person holding or acting in any public office and includes an officer or member of the police force. So you see who is a public officer.
Mm-hmm.
Now when I am shifting from the Constitution, and if you don't have this, you don't have what I have. But I can guide you to something why Sugar Simon is having so much trouble. Now, the Civil Service Regulations of 1993, that's number 1. That was the first regulation passed in this country in 1993. That's why I got that number 1. Now, I'm going to point out something here to you and your listeners, and then I will go to another section of the law to show you where Sugar's problems lies. Now, terms and conditions. This is section 10. You would have seen that in the news when Marshall and Company filed a petition on behalf of Casworth Aaron. People have it wrong to say Samantha. It's not Samantha. Samantha is not the petitioner.
What section of the Civil Service Regulation are you reading?
10.
Terms of appointment?
Terms and conditions, right.
Why you believe I don't have it?
Well, I don't know. I didn't say you didn't have it. If you have it, very good. Because I will call upon you to read it, and then I will explain it to your listeners.
At number 10, an officer may be appointed into the civil service on A, permanent terms, or B, temporary terms, or 3, contract terms.
Right. Now, I am going to carry you now to 28.
This
is part 4.
Yes.
Section 28.
Subsection what?
You will read 1, 2, 3, and 5. And I will explain.
An officer appointed on permanent term shall give at least 3 months' notice of his intention to resign. That's number 1. Number 2, an officer appointed on a temporary term shall give at least 1 month's notice of his intention to resign. Number 3, an officer appointed on a contract shall, if he intends to resign, give a notice of his intention in accordance with the terms of this contract. And 5, the service of an officer shall be terminated on such terms and conditions as the Commission directs, if the officer seeks to resign without giving notice in terms of this regulation. Let me read over that. The service...
No. I want to believe. I have not seen the documents filed, but there is enough information in the media that guides our understanding that 1, Casworth Simon, the elector, the nominator, one of the nominators really, and the petitioner. And you notice I can't call Samantha Marshall because her name is nowhere there. All right? So let us concentrate only on the petitioner, Casworth Simon. Casworth Simon is saying and would have asked the court to declare that the nomination of Sugar Simon was invalid. Why? Because he did not follow these regulations in the civil service regulation. And if you're permanently employed with government, it says you just can't walk away like that without giving the government 3 months' notice. You know, you might be in a very sensitive, critical area working. You can know for now. The only thing that could happen to you is death, because you can scramble somebody immediately to put them in the position so that they will continue to function to serve the nation and public. And there is reason that they say 3 months. Give the authorities 3 months so that they can put a person, a competent person. Because most time we complain about the civil servants. They're not professional, they're not helpful, they're piggish, you know, they're hostile towards you. We always complain about that. Some of it, I'm not saying it is not true. I haven't had any issue with them, really. But the law says if you're permanently employed, you must give 3 months' notice.
So what happens if you don't give 3 months' notice?
Pardon me?
What happens if I resign,
Yes.
but I do not give 3 months' notice?
Well, there's where you go down to 5. I wanted to read 5 again.
The service of an officer shall be terminated on such terms and conditions as the Commission directs, if the officer seeks to resign without giving notice in terms of this regulation. So it means that the Commission determines the conditions. What happens if the notice is not given?
Well, it provides where you will forfeit your benefits, but
Right.
that's not what I'm aiming at. I am showing you that it is either, I don't know what kind of employment Sugar Simon had. And if he's listening to this program, he will tell us whether or not he was permanently employed. If he was permanently employed, then he was required to give 3 months' notice if he was leaving to contest the elections. If he was temporarily employed, he was required to give 1 month's notice. If you, I wanted to read.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. But
Right.
what I am asking is, and the reason why I'm asking that, because
Yes.
from the labor code perspective,
Yes.
and I believe that there will be some similarity. I believe it's spelled out in the well, it might not be spelled out in the labor code. If you don't give notice, then you would get notice pay, or you would give notice pay. You see,
Well,
so I know, I understand that the law asks for a period of time for the resignation, and as you said, it is to have the position filled, etc., etc. But if I decide, if I take a strategic decision for whatever the reason in my life to say, look, you know what, I'm going to give up or pay notice because I'm not giving the 1 month that I have to give. In the regulations here, what happens if a person does not give the 3 months or the 1 month notice that needs to be given?
Well, it speaks in the subsection 5. What will happen?
All right, so the commission decides that.
Yes, the commission.
Okay, fine.
Right, the commission has a discretionary power to decide what should happen to the individual who is leaving.
But that discretion can extend to me not represented.
No, it doesn't mean that.
Okay, all right.
But again, you can look at it in isolation, not from a labor perspective. You're looking at it from the context of elections. And let me go back to that before you get confused or your listeners get confused. Be somewhere in the Constitution, and if you can find it before me, go right ahead. I think it's section 39. Isn't it, Beef?
You tell me what I'm looking for. I don't know what I'm looking for, sir.
Section 39(1)(G).
39(1)(G).
Yes.
Yes. 39(1)(G). Just give me a second. I'm getting up. No, that's all right there. I'm getting to it. 39(1)(G) reads, holds or is acting in any...
No, you have to go at 39(1) first. You don't
Okay,
climb a tree
sorry.
on the roof.
No
from the top.
person shall be qualified
Right.
to be elected as a member of the House who, and I'm now going to G, holds or is acting in any public office or in the office of judge of the Supreme Court.
Well, no, you don't need to go to the judge because
All right.
Shugi was not a judge.
Right, so
You
hold,
can just end it there, right? Yeah.
or is acting, no person shall be qualified to be elected as a member of the House who holds or is acting in any public office or in the office of judge. Holding public
No,
office.
don't,
Yeah.
just say it.
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there.
I'm leaving
So
that office,
He
yes.
was not a judge, really. He was...
No, I understand.
I am told he
Office.
was a teacher.
Counselor, my understanding.
Counselor.
Mhm.
All right, but it was a public office. He was considered a public officer. He gets his payment through the treasury. Either directly he goes there and get it, or arrangement would have been made where you have a bank account where that money is sent there. So it is showing you, if you are holding that office and you don't follow those procedures in the Civil Service Act of giving notice, you cannot be qualified. And that is the argument before the court.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
No person shall be qualified to be elected
Yes.
as a member of the House. Who? And it goes on. Let me ask you a question. If I am in the public service and I enter into an election, and the election should be called on the 30th of June, and I resign on the 29th of June, and I win, when is it considered that I'm elected? On winning or leading up to the win?
Beef, you would have been, as in the case of Shugi, so there can be no confusion now. Listen carefully. As in the case of Shugi Simon, he was duly nominated. So the Abbott people, the officers who were taking the nominations, would have been satisfied that he has the number of people present, because they have to sign the name on the same nomination thing. So all that procedure would have been correct. Are we clear on that point?
Yes.
All that procedure, they would have been seen who nominating him to contest the election. That is all ABEC was concerned about. But ABEC would have been joined in the same petition here as well. You would recall Sinclair Simon. And if I have something here on that. You recall the case of Arthur Nibbs, Trevor Walker, John Jarvis, Lorna Simon in Barbuda in 2009?
No, what was that case about?
The same petition, man. A petition dealt with by Justice Blenman. You will also recall the case of John McGinley, Leila Manwaring, Lorna Simon, and the Electoral Commission. These are people who were what they were contesting there is that they were contesting the polls that were not fair, free and fair. And we were told from the news,
That was when the election started late.
10 o'clock in the morning,
right.
And some later than that. Right. So that speaks for itself. But what Caswell Simon has asked the court for, even though I have not seen the papers that he filed, based on the news that came out to us, to all of Antigua and wherever people would have been listening to the news in Antigua and Barbuda, he is asking for a declaration that Shugi Simon was not validly nominated because he did not comply with the civil service regulation.
No, well, my understanding is that they're saying that Shugi was not duly nominated because he did not resign on time.
Well, that is the key thing. Remember, we went through the period of time.
Yes, but my understanding is now that they didn't say he didn't give enough notice.
Yeah.
They said that he did not resign on time. I don't know when there's a cutoff point. I understand that it's being practiced.
No, don't be confused with that, because the civil service tells you if you intend to resign, what notice you must give. So don't go down that road.
So where is this discussion coming from that they said somebody had to resign and somebody? Where did that come from?
I don't know. And, people will speculate, and this is the reason why people, especially the citizens, there should be somebody, I can't tell you whether it's government or whom, but there should be somebody when issues like this come up to alert the public, because the public will form their own opinion. People will say things, and you can't blame them for that. Why? Because those in authority, those who are well positioned to know and to educate, to inform, to disseminate information to the public, to the citizens, they don't do that. And so the citizens are left to ponder and wonder.
And speculate.
And speculate, right. So that is what is happening. Now, where we stand now with Shugi.
He resigned.
No, he resigned, and I must tell you, although people bashing him is the best thing he has done, it will look stupid to you and me, Beef, but it is the best thing Shugi has done, and I want the record to reflect that is what I am saying. I'll tell you why.
Well, let not the record reflect that I say he's stupid to do it, because I don't necessarily
No,
think so.
no, well, you have to defend yourself with that. I never said that. I said the best thing he has done.
I just want to go on record with that too as we go on record.
Okay. So the public, because the public doesn't understand, the public seeing him as a fool.
Some members of the public.
Right, but he's not. And let me tell you why. There is a matter of a petition asking the court to declare that he was not properly or validly nominated. And if you're not validly nominated, you ought not to take part in the contest. So we'll come right back to what we spoke of on Section 39(1)(g) of the Constitution. But let me put it this way for the listeners to understand a little clearer. Beef, I know you're not a troublemaker, but if you were walking on Market Street and you were making use of indecent language, follow me carefully, an officer came up to you. If he's in plain clothes, he will identify himself and he will declare his office. If he's in uniform, he doesn't have to identify himself, but he will tell you exactly what he heard, and he requests your name and address. In decent language, you can speak one or two, and that will not be considered disorderly. But if you continue speaking it, it will move from indecent language now to disorderly conduct, in which case he will lock you up for that. Not for the language you use, because your conduct is disorderly in a public place, so we lock you up for that. But here the point I want to make here and pull out from you. Since indecent language is not an arrestable offense, the officer will ask you for your name and address. When you would have refused to give him your name and address, he doesn't know who you are, so he must arrest you, not for the language you use, but because you refused to give him your name and address. So he arrests you now, Beef, and he takes you straight to St. John's Police Station. He doesn't know your name, you didn't give him no name. When you get to the station now, you are telling him, my name is Dave Beef Joseph. Does that negative the fact that you refuse to give him on Market Street when he needed?
No.
All right. So it is the same, coming back to Sugar Simon now. When he would have been nominated, contested the election, declared by the appropriate authority, all that process would have been okay. But when you look at the Constitution that speaks to disqualification, you can see that the Constitution and the requirements and the Civil Service Act knock down all the others. Isn't that so, Beef?
Yeah.
Yeah, because in the first place, he was not. And let me put another way. Beef, if your motor vehicle insurance ran out today, I say yesterday, Beef, and you knocked me down today, and Monday you go and get your vehicle license, does that cover the period when you knock me down?
Bodily injury is a different thing. I would have to say yes.
No,
because
no, not bodily injuries now.
No, when they say knock me down, what are you referring to?
When you're driving on the road and your vehicle knocked me down off the road.
I don't want to confuse you much, but all I'll tell you is the property damage is not covered, the bodily injury would be covered. But that's a different discussion.
I'm not talking about, I am talking now where the police will charge you with
the property,
driving your vehicle without insurance.
No, right, they're going to do that, yes. No, but when you say knock me down, I was just referring to if you're talking about...
Oh, no, I'm not looking at compensation. I'm showing you where the offense lies.
Yes, that's correct.
So you can you knock me down Saturday, and you bring in your insurance certificate on Monday to say your vehicle was licensed. No beef.
Yes, I'm with you.
All right. Well, the same thing with Shuggy. Same thing with Shuggy. Shuggy would have done all what he's supposed to do, but then the Constitution sets out what you should not do if you want to be qualified.
And that is where in the Constitution 39 what?
39(1)G.
39(1)G.
Not 39(1)G saying you will be disqualified.
Always acting in a public office.
Right.
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 So if he's holding,
yes,
or if anybody
yes,
is holding, or they're acting in a public office,
yes,
they can't be elected.
No, he can't. But he's elected. All right, he's elected. So what you ask court now is to declare that election invalid. Why? Because he was not properly nominated.
Right, but wouldn't the court have to first? Wouldn't the court have to first validate whether he was in the position or not?
Well, this is why you would have been hearing all kind of Nancy. The word is really nonsense, but from way back, people have been talking about Nancy's story, Brian Nancy's story. Only Nancy's story you're hearing nowadays, because the resignation that is made by Shuggy properly was sent to Beef, and I think I may have pointed out, I don't remember where it is in the Constitution, but I think it's 125 Beef.
Yes, that's the one. That's when he's resigning from the House.
From the House, yes. I wanted to read that.
I think it's 125 or 124, something like that.
125.
Give me a second. Let me just get to it. 125 says 122, 23, 25. A person who is appointed or elected to the office established by this Constitution may resign from the office by writing on his hand addressed to the person or authority by whom he was appointed or elected, provided that A. The resignation of the person from the office of President or Vice President, from the office of Speaker or Deputy Speaker, shall be addressed to the Senate or the House, as the case may be, and B. The resignation of the person from membership of the Senate or the House shall be addressed to the President of the Senate, as the case may be. Number 2. The resignation of the person from such office or aforesaid shall take effect when the writing signifying the resignation is received by the person or authority to whom it is addressed, or by person authorized by that person or authority to receive it.
All right, let me make it simple for you, your listeners. You understand it, for your listeners. What the Constitution is saying, and firstly, you notice it started out with the upper house.
Yes.
Right. It is saying if Sir Gerald resigns, Sir Gerald will submit his resignation, not to himself, but to the House. If Alicia Grant, who is the President of the Senate, resigns, she will submit it to the Senate. But you went on further to speak to the member. When a member resigns who is not the Speaker nor the President, they must send it to the Speaker or the Senate. That's all it means, in simple and straight terms. So when we are told that Shugi went to the law firm of Watt and Associate to deliver his resignation, that is hak poo-poo. You hear me? You didn't hear that?
Yeah, I'm listening.
All right. Because Mr. Watt law firm is not his office. He must take it to the clerk to Parliament. And they know, they go there more than you and I, Beef. They must know there is where you have to take it. Take anything you have to take it to the clerk to Parliament.
So then, if what you're saying is correct, and I'm not saying it's not, it means that the resignation letter would have been delivered the Thursday, not the Wednesday, according to you.
Well, I don't know. I'm not looking at time. I'm only
no,
saying
because
where it should be
it's in the news
Yeah.
that the resignation letter was also given to the clerk the following day.
Well, that is the one I recognize. That is the one the Speaker must recognize. Not the one that he got at his law firm.
So that's what I'm saying. One was on the Wednesday.
Private practice.
One was on the Wednesday, one was on the Thursday.
Yeah. I don't know who guided him, but I would not have sent him nowhere by Mr. Watt office in town. No way. Because that is not, in his private capacity as a legal practitioner, that is the place to go. But in his capacity as Speaker of the House of Representatives, he must go up to Parliament and deliver it to the clerk. He wouldn't meet Mr. Watt up there. Are we clear on that point?
But so are you saying that he could not have given it to
Mr. do that.
No, I'm just asking. Would it have been
I'm
valid?
not saying he couldn't do that. But the best place for him is to the clerk to Parliament.
No, I hear you. But here the question I'm asking you.
Yeah.
Would it have been valid if he had delivered it to Mr. Watt?
No. Wouldn't be invalid.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm just asking.
And the question, you read 125, you would have seen there that the question of discretion, whether he will accept it or not, that is nonsense too. The Constitution says you deliver it there and he must accept it. Now, the Constitution didn't say this. But what will happen there when he receives it? He has a duty to send it to the Governor General.
He being the Speaker of the House?
Yes, the Speaker of the House. That is his function.
Why would he have to do that?
Because it was the Governor General in the first place. You would have seen the picture with all of them at Government House taking the oath of allegiance to His Majesty the King.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see that, Beef?
Yes, I saw that on television.
And you would have also seen that when they went to Parliament to take their seat. This is a different thing now. Where they themselves, even they were even quarreling that Sir Robin didn't sign to take his seat in it. You remember that, Beef?
That was a fact. We saw that by video.
I'm not saying it's not a fact.
No, well, I just said it.
Oh, okay. Well, you would have been watching it.
I watched it, right. I have the recording up to now.
Right. So there are certain, those are procedural. There are certain procedure you must follow to sit in that Parliament there.
So when the Speaker sends it to the Governor General, what happens after that?
Well, the Governor General, I expect, will look at it and send it back to the Speaker. So when the Parliament meets now, they will put that before the House.
Why
do a motion and accept it formally?
All right. Oh, okay, formally.
Simply, and the whole thing done there.
All right, formally.
You just don't walk away like that.
Can the as you said, it is put before the House and is accepted formally. Can it be
that
put,
is just formality.
Can it be put before the House and the House say no?
The House?
Yeah.
Let me see which idiot is in the House going to say no. You tell me. Let me see. Let me see. I don't think they have any idiot inside here.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
Not one of them. They are all honorable gentlemen from the Prime Minister come right down.
Let me ask you another question. Can the Speaker refuse a resignation?
He cannot. He doesn't have that power. As a matter of fact, it is the same people that put the Speaker there, you know that?
So why is it that some lawyers believe that the Speaker... why is it that some lawyers are waiting on the Speaker to say whether he accepts the resignation?
No, that's nonsense. The Constitution never said that.
Okay.
That is nonsense. Tell them I say that is nonsense.
They're listening.
Right? Now, if the Prime Minister has 9 people in there, all right? All 9... If the Prime Minister alone, the Prime Minister and his 9 can move Sir Gerald from there. We're not looking at party now, and there is where people, and I want my people in Grace Ormond Point to
remember Sir Gerald only
it's not about party. It is about the members of the House.
But remember, Sir Gerald is there because of the Prime Minister and his people.
Right. Well, again, even that should make people enlightened to understand it is the majority of members of the House, not the majority of members of no party. Because if the Prime Minister did not have the how many he has 9, the opposition has 5, then you have Mr. Walker, and you also have Mr. Michael.
Independent.
All right, so 5 and 2, 7. No, they have 6.
The UPP has 6.
But they have 5 now.
Yes, with the resignation of
Right.
Shugi.
So there is going to be a vacancy in that regard. But Beef, I wanted to go to the Constitution again. I put away mine after I read the first part. But I know it sufficiently to tell you where to go. Section 41(3). Because remember, the section we read just now speaks to the procedure that is to be followed in tendering your resignation.
41(3)?
Yes.
There's no 41(3). It's 41(1), 41(2).
Well, read the one there that speaks to the... You would see in that section, it provides for some things under the same section 41. But in the same, I think it's 3B, where it speaks to any other reason there. Where the election, where you have a by-election in 120 days. There must be a by-election in 120 days.
Yes, I remember reading that. 41(2).
Right, well, read that for the benefit of your...
Where an elected member of the House vacates his seat in the House pursuant to the provisions of paragraph B to E of subsection 1 above of this section, or of subsection 2 of this section, or where the seat of an elected member of the House is vacant for any other reason except a dissolution of Parliament, there shall be a by-election to fill the seat in the House vacated by that member, and the by-election shall be held no later than 120 days after the day on which the seat of the member of the House became vacant, unless Parliament is delivered sooner. So unless Parliament is sooner dissolved. Yes.
Well, we know Parliament is not going to dissolve now.
But let me ask a question before we go. Bear with me. 120 days after the day on which the seat of the member of the House became vacant, right?
Yes.
What day is that? Is that the day the
again,
Speaker...
if you go back to the Constitution, where it says when you recognize the writing,
right? Okay, right.
It takes effect.
So that's the day. So the clock starts to count
from
the day the Speaker gets the resignation.
Right.
So that would have been
So
Thursday of last week.
Assuming the speaker didn't get it last week and he gets it on Monday.
Yes, it starts on Monday.
That is the time he would recognize the handwriting
Yes,
of
I got
the
that.
member.
I
and then the clock starts kicking from there.
No. Who determines the date of the by-election?
Well, that is left to the Prime Minister. But
Prime
he
Minister.
has to call it within the 120 days.
The Prime
Even
Minister.
Except, you would recall something happened one time where we couldn't call the election at the time when it was supposed to be called.
That's going back to the UPP days, going into 2014.
All right, good. Those are things like you didn't have printers and you couldn't finish the cards or something like that.
Because I asked that question, right?
Yes.
And the reason why I asked you, I just wanted to hear what you were saying. But I asked this question of somebody, and they advised me that the legal department / AG would have conversations with ABEC as to their readiness.
Yes.
And when they could get ready, and then it shoots off from there.
Well, yes. There's provision under that under the Representation of the People Act as well. There's a provision under it where if you can't get it ready for that particular time, but it's communication, because the minute you start to delay elections, people start to think about fraud.
Yes.
People start to think about you're rigging something. You're either cutting off some.
And that's a reasonable thought.
Well,
in my opinion.
Well, again, if people become suspicious, you have to eliminate all the suspicions and the authorities. And there is where ABEC sometimes get unnecessary licks. I would say that the people are harsh on ABEC when in fact ABEC would have been challenged with certain administrative matters or certain resources they cannot access. And this is why I used to like King Frankai when he acted there for a little while, Beef.
At the Electoral Commission?
Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh, yes. King Frankai was there for a little while. And he will tell you he was not afraid because obviously he was not a partisan person. And people accept what King Frankai was saying. He was not crooked. He didn't involve in skullduggery. And so whatever he was putting out, King Frankai was accepting it. I'm not too sure Juno Samuel had the same kind of...
He said King Frankai?
Frankai, yes.
Okay.
He was on it.
Okay.
He was on a big commission, yes.
Frankai or Goodwin? Not Goodwin. What's the gentleman's name there? Bruce Goodwin.
Bruce Goodwin may have been him.
Okay. Because I don't remember Frankai. I remember Bruce Goodwin.
Right. So people would... Because he's a fellow, he's outspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he tells you how it is. And I like people like that. It eliminates mistrust and suspicion. Anytime you see a man start hedging and start coming with all kinds of excuse, that is not a man to be trusted, and that is not a man to be on any kind of commission. Anytime you hear, and they might be very honest, but there is something that is called public perception. You have heard that term before, Beef?
Yes, ma'am.
What it means is what people perceive in their mind. And when they remove Mr. Maxwell from ABEC, I'm sure you recall that. Beef, your brain's supposed to be sharper than mine, Right. So when they remove Maxwell from ABEC, it was not because he did anything wrong to the electoral list. He didn't do anything wrong. But because of his association, putting on his red shirt and his red shoes and his, I don't know, never seen him in anything red really, and picketing up at the Prime Minister's office every Thursday on Queen Elizabeth Highway. The 3 judges said that because of how the way the public perceive him, they don't trust him, so he should not be on the commission. And that's why they removed him. You do remember that, Beef?
Yes, I do.
Right, right. And what happens there now? But Prime Minister Spencer, a tough cookie too, really wanted to get rid of Sir Gerald. So Gerald and Mr. Paddy James, they came out with flying colors because the commission didn't see them doing anything wrong. And so Mr. Spencer took the matter to Parliament and adjusted the age of retirement. And that is how Sir Gerald come to be bounced off of it.
Well, didn't Sir Gerald go to court?
Yes, and he won. He won. He represented himself with his associate, Dr. David Dorset, and the court, if you were a judge, you would have to award Sir Gerald his just due. You would have to do that. It's not all judges of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court are brave enough to think. Most of them, I have regards for all of them, but most of them, some of them, they are not very nice. And the reason I say that, I can speak to my own country, St. Vincent. I don't know what is happening in Antigua and Barbuda. I think you have the best judges up here.
Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah. Now, you would have had a petition was filed in St. Vincent and the Grenadines before the last election here. And Justice Brian Cussell, the Eastern, you all can read it. I'm not saying anything that I don't know, because I have the judgment right here in my house. Justice Brian Cussell, he served in Antigua for a little while. Throughout the petition for the opposition people, and they appealed to the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. That is the itinerant court that goes from island to island to have the appeals hearing. Ruled, and they were harsh on Justice Brian Cussell. They say he was biased. And they ordered that the petition be put back in. And this might have some little bearing, this might have a little bearing on Sugar case. I'll tell you why I say that. Now, and the three judges ordered that another judge must deal with the matter. Don't make Justice Cuttle go near that at all. And I could commend Dame Janice Pereira, who is the Chief Justice, and the other two, Blendman, and I think Mrs. Thorm. You know Justice Thorm, Keith Thorm?
Yeah.
His wife. And so they put the matter before a judge named Esco Henry, not Claire Henry, and I want to extend a deepest sympathy to the family.
That just ran on my mind too. Condolences to her family.
All right.
On the passing. And to the fraternity.
I have vivid memories of her when I was a prosecutor in her court. You didn't know that she was a magistrate, Beef?
Yes, I know her personally.
Right. And you couldn't find a more pleasant lady than, at that time it was Magistrate, Her Worship, Claire Henry Wason at that time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Pleasant. She never get rowdy or rough or hostile to anybody. Nobody. But yes, so the court ordered that a new judge should deal with the matter, and they got Justice, Her Ladyship Justice Esco Henry to deal with it. And after a few dilly-dally and some adjournment, she recused herself from it. Can you imagine? And then what happens? Another judge was assigned, and he too found himself with kind of problems, dilly-dallying and adjournment, until the 5 years elapsed to the last election there. So that matter was never heard.
So they contested an election and had another election without contesting
right. And the man who they wanted to be declared not winning the election, he went back and won. Now, with Shugi, if I was his attorney, I would not advise him to resign now. I would let him Go to the court. He still has to go to the court. Because what people, and I'm glad I raised that just now. Shuggy still has to go to the court. You hear him talking about he don't want to go there to this and that. He still has to go there. Because his resignation is not before the court. Do I need to go back over that, Beef?
No, go ahead, continue.
His resignation is not before the court. What is before the court is a petition by Cosworth Simon.
But let me ask you a question.
Yes.
If Cosworth Simon is asking the court to remove Shuggy as member of parliament because his nomination was not valid, if Shuggy is not the member of parliament, what is the court going to rule on?
Well, let me tell you, nobody, and you can call Hugh Marshall Jr., they can't ask the court to remove you. That has never happened unless somebody going mad. They cannot ask the court to remove you, neither can they tell the Prime Minister to call election by or otherwise.
So what are they asking? What is he asking the court?
To declare his nomination to be void.
All right.
And
if that is done, what happens?
Well, there is where 41, the same one I told you to read there just now, comes in. Are we clear on that? So his resignation has nothing to do with the petition that is pending for hearing on sometime in July. I do not know the date.
All right. So if there's a ruling that he was not duly nominated,
yes,
that's what the court is ruling.
Yeah, that's all the court needs to do.
Who would they be removing if there's nobody to remove?
They're not removing anybody. That's not the.
No, I'm not talking to court. I'm not talking to court.
Yeah.
The petition is done.
Yes.
What happens after that?
Well, there is where the constitutional, because you have a vacancy now, okay? He resigned. So that is no issue. And if you resign, you don't have a position, it's automatic vacancy.
If he did not resign,
if
he did not resign, it means that if he's found that he was not duly nominated, he would have to vacate.
Correct.
And then that would now trigger
the same 41 year.
Exactly. So now, if they come to that you were not duly nominated,
yes.
So the seat has to be vacated. I've already resigned, so it's vacated.
Neither here nor there. That is moot.
All right.
So then now, not going to argue about that.
So then now, here's the question.
He jumped the gun by resigning.
But here's the question now.
Yes, go ahead.
If the resignation, as we would have read in 125, takes effect, and we've already accepted, or we've already said rather, that the clock starts to run from there.
Yes.
How do you square that now with the court, the petition before the court? Because under the petition from the court, the clock would now start to run when he's deemed to have not been duly nominated.
Yes.
But he would have now resigned, let's say 10 days before that. Where are we now with the clock running?
Well, that should not affect anything because he knows he can go and sit in Parliament. And he doesn't have the membership. Are we clear on that?
No, I know.
So it doesn't affect anything there.
But as far as calculation goes, in relation to the by-election,
well, the speaker will deal with the timing for that to happen.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But when does the clock start to run? Because
when the speaker acknowledges it.
But
that has no bearing on the court.
I hear what you're saying, Mr. Pompey, but hear what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
Based on what the information that's out in the public.
Yes.
The resignation would have been delivered to the clerk of Parliament Thursday.
Yes.
All right. We're saying, or we believe, that the clock starts to run from there.
Well, yes, the Constitution actually said that. It
takes effect
once you recognize the right.
Okay, fine. No. Let's assume that this matter is heard the second week of July.
Yes.
I don't remember the date.
So you can even go to August.
Right. No. I'm going with the case. I'm going with the case that they have.
Yes.
The case is supposed to be coming up in early July. Either the first or the second week. Let's say the end of the first week for argument's sake.
Yes.
There is today is the 10th, right? So then let's say there's a 2 weeks difference between when the clock would have started to run, resignation having been received.
Yes.
And if the matter is disposed of 2 weeks down the line and he's deemed to have not been duly nominated, then the clock starts to run after that.
No.
What happened?
Beef, don't mix up the court decision with the constitutional requirement when the speaker would have seen the resignation.
No, I'm not mixing up. What I'm saying to you.
Yes.
You listen to him. What I'm saying to you, Mr. Pompey.
Yeah.
If the court finds
yes.
that he was not duly nominated,
right,
they would vacate the seat.
Yes.
And having vacated the seat.
But follow me, Beef, before we even go all there. He has already vacated it when he resigned.
I understand. So this is why I'm asking.
Yeah. So
what
all
is
the
going?
court is doing now, follow me, is just to formalize what he has done.
Okay, all right. So then that means the date runs from when the speaker.
Well, the speaker will work that out.
Okay.
It won't be an issue.
But is it for the speaker to work out? It's for the law.
Well, the Constitution guides him.
Okay.
Because he's strictly now. The speaker has nothing to do with elections. Are we clear on that? The speaker has to do with the membership of the House. So if I am a member and I decide to resign, and there is a matter pending for the court, that has nothing to do with the judge who dealing with it.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you.
So that is where we are with that one.
All right. If I could ask you, with all the information that you have in your hands in terms of the resignation in court case coming up and thing, what is your, just in wrapping up this part here, what is your opinion? What will take place going forward, in your opinion?
Beef, you know, I speak only on the laws and understand it.
All right, fine.
I never give opinion.
I could
to
respect
nobody.
that. Two more things I want to ask you before I think. Good evening, sir. Maybe you could help me here. Good evening, sir. What is your views on the crime chief taking vacation during this period?
Beef, I can't give you no opinion on that either.
Is the crime chief on vacation? Is the commissioner of police on vacation, you know?
Beef, I don't know. I can tell you what I know.
Okay.
I know he's in Jamaica. All right?
You know if he's on vacation?
I never checked to see what he went there for. Suppose he gone to buy marijuana. I don't know.
No, well, I don't. I'm just reading. I'm just reading what somebody sent here to me, and I believe it's a former police officer. So,
well, is you they asking, not me? Because I don't.
No,
know.
well, I know they're asking you, but I'm asking you. I'm asking you, and
Beef, I don't know a thing about that. You hear me?
The problem.
But I must tell you. I do not like when it does, whether here in Antigua or over in St. Vincent, where I'm originally from.
1 second. Don't lose your last word, Mr. Pompey.
Yeah.
Let me try and see if I could do something here. Okay, look like you work. Good night, caller.
Good night.
Hi.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi, Beef.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, I'm listening. We're hearing you.
Hi, Beef.
Yes, good night.
I can't hear you, Beef.
Well, I don't know. I'm hearing you. Go ahead. Just talk.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Okay. You know, I'm with Mr. Pompey and the way how things are set. Now, I am not guilty of a charge. Okay, I should be charged for one. Okay? Now, what bothers me is why resign? If you're not guilty, why resign? Why throw away? No, you're going to tell me that it must be what you would call a next election. Okay? A part of that. But it cannot happen before you're proven not guilty or guilty with the first charge. So I would like Mr. Pompey to answer me, because the way I look at it, it seems like the cart is gone and the wagon is behind, which the wagon is gone also. You know, the horse gone, the horse bolted, and the wagon bolted. So it's a mix-up thing, and I don't know. And I personally.
So basically, you're of the opinion that because Sugar resigned, that is admission by him that he was not duly nominated.
Yes, he should not resign.
That is your opinion. All right, no problem. Let me put that to Mr. Pumpy.
Opinion.
What are your thoughts on
the case is called?
Okay, I got you. What are your thoughts on that, Mr. Pumpy?
Well, Beef, Beef, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yeah. Now, Beef, from my knowledge and from my experience, appearing in the courts, magistrate and before judges, there is something the court calls reasonable inference. You've heard the term before, Beef?
Yes.
Now, the gentleman is right in his thinking, and I am using the term reasonable inference. I could draw the same reasonable inference that he's buckling because he realized himself that he was not properly nominated, not elected now, because the people gave him some 199 or so votes. Is that correct, Beef? I don't know.
Yes, that's the difference.
All right. The people gave him that. But it's no fault of the people to give him that. The problem lies with the procedure. So even if he had 5,000 votes, the petition would have still been that he wasn't properly nominated. Are we clear on that?
But wouldn't reasonable inference be a part of
the gentleman, what he's asking you there.
Be a part, but wouldn't
there is a reasonable inference that he realized. Yes, Beef, you better believe it.
No, hear the question I'm going to ask. Hear the question I'm going to ask.
Go ahead, yeah.
Wouldn't reasonable inference, as far as the judge is concerned, wouldn't that be drawn, that judge having heard all the evidence?
Well, this is why, again, I'm using this word, okay? Ventilation. This is why there will be further arguments to support or not to support the petition.
Correct.
And be somewhere, when the court made the adjournment, it was for a public official to appear before the court, whether in person or through an affidavit. You understand what is an affidavit?
Yes, I do.
An affidavit is where you would have explained certain things. You would have been guided, really. And the lawyer writes it down, write down everything, and after that, they send a clerk with you up to the commissioner of oath at the High Court for you to swear that the information you have in there, to the best of your knowledge, is true and correct. That is when it becomes an affidavit, when you swear, when you make that kind of swearing. So, when they adjourn for the public official to come to the court to give evidence, whether they are going to do that orally or otherwise, that officer would have been coming from the establishment department, who is responsible, because, you know, when you make the application to join government service, it goes through them, and they send it to the Public Service Commission, who may, well, very often they don't reject you, because you must know what you as a permanent secretary or the chief establishment officer must know what qualifications you need for somebody to fill a position in the public service. So very often they will approve the appointment. So you need somebody inside there now to come and tell the court what Shugi's employment was, whether it was permanent, whether it was temporary. If you read those things already, you know, or whether it was on contract. And there again, whoever was going to probe would want to know the period where you must give notice to leave. But I can see where the gentleman coming from, but Beef, you know, I don't give opinion to nobody. I don't do that. I keep my little opinion to myself.
Two more things.
Go
One,
ahead, Beef, you can take the whole night.
what have you heard in relation to, what have you heard recently, I should ask, in relation to Mr. Michael suspension from the House?
But Beef, I haven't heard anything, but you have seen my commentary.
Yes, I have.
And once you see Sir Gerald, when Sir Gerald is right, you can't stop him from blasting anybody. All right? Now, Sir Gerald made a mistake, and he knows, because certain people, high-profile people, shared certain things with me. I can't tell you nor your listeners. Not even my people in Point and Grace Farm I will share it with. But my commentary was along the line where Sir Gerald himself, who is a member of the House, the same rules you see applied to Mr. Michael and the Prime Minister and all the others in there, is the same rule that applies to Sir Gerald.
Wasn't the deadline given by the lawyer for Mr. Michael,
I haven't heard anything
or they were
further.
going to go to court?
I know, I read it in the news, but I haven't heard anything further. But where I can show you and tell you and your listeners where Sir Gerald went wrong is that up to the point where the House Standing Order allows him to eject, that's the most he can do. Eject me and you for the sitting of the day. He doesn't have any other power or authority. Do I need to go back over that, Beef?
Yes.
The House Speaker has a power of ejection to ask the Sergeant at Arms to remove you from the chambers.
So that's
the most he can do.
The Speaker don't have no power to bring a motion before the House?
No. That's not the function of the Speaker. So I was Sergeant at Arms there, and I think the last time I did indicate to you with Mr. Murray and Dame Bridget Harris. I am no rabbit about these things. Okay? Right. So yes, what would happen there is that the Constitution and the House, which is the Parliament, realize that some members, because the people elected them, would give the Speaker trouble. There is no doubt about that. They anticipated that will happen. So what they did, they put the power in the hands of the membership of the House. Whether they're going to be unanimous or whether they're going to be having a majority. In this case, it's the majority who actually voted for Mr. Michael's suspension. But here what happened. When Sir Gerald would have named him, you recall when Mr. Michael was packing up his papers to leave, and again he made a big blunder here, and I am no hypocrite, I have to tell you what it is. You would hear him calling upon the members of government. You recall that, Beef?
Yeah.
Yes, calling on members of... How you call on members of government when you have... Supposing the full House was there. You can't call upon the government side to take action against any member. So you have to call on the membership. Everybody there is a member of the House. It's not the UPP or the ALP or BPM or independent. It's not that. It comprises them, yes. And this is why when they address each member inside there, they don't say the UPP leader or whatever. They say member for St. Philip North or wherever.
So let me ask a question. Did you see the video?
But no, I want to share with the listeners where he went wrong. Hold that question there, Beef. So when he realized that Mr. Michael wasn't moving, because I looked at a little part of the video when Mr. Michael took up his phone and was doing something with it. And when the speaker said, get him out now, leave now. And he shook his head. Did you see that? You have to be observant, you know.
Yes, I have the video.
Pardon me?
Yes, I have the video.
Right. And then my good friend, Mr. Benjamin, said, what? I'm sure you would have heard that too.
Yeah.
Anyway, When Sir Gerald caught himself, he called upon members of the House. You have to be fair to him, although he made the mistake there.
He called on members of the House?
Right. He called upon members of the House to take, he said, I want action now. But what he did...
He called on members of the House, he called on members of the government side.
But here what he did, Beef, instead of him allowing, because that is what the House order said, allowing one of the members there to move a motion for the suspension of Mr. Michael, and somebody would have seconded it. He didn't do that. Instead, he put the punishment before the House and called upon them to vote on it. 3 sittings. You remember that, Beef? This is where he went wrong. So Sir Gerald will not argue about it because he knows himself no motion was before the House.
So what he's going to have to do? Write to Mr. Michael to tell him...
I don't know what he will do. I don't know. But if, looking at the whole thing, I wouldn't want Mr. Michael to go up there for police to embarrass him, really. All right? Because that is the first thing they will do, call police. I don't know. If I was commissioner, they couldn't call me. You follow? I didn't vote for Mr. Michael to go in Parliament. The people vote for him, so you can't call me as commissioner to tell me remove Mr. Michael. I wouldn't have that power. But you as Speaker and the Sergeant who says the power lies with those 2 people. So the Sergeant must take instructions from the Speaker. The Sergeant at Arms, the man with the mace. And you remember some time ago I told you, the man with the mace, he's not concerned about the members them inside if they start to fight.
Maybe I might come to one day somebody run with the mace.
Yeah, right. So you have to hold on to the mace. You have to die with that mace and let them fight. I told you that before. That is my instruction from Mr. Murray and Dame Bridget Harris.
Suppose somebody take off with the mace, boy.
And you've seen it in the Indian Parliament.
I remember somebody, right? I think it was in the Caribbean, one of the Caribbean islands, or somebody take off the mace and head out.
Yes, I heard something to that
Someone in the
effect.
Caribbean islands.
Yeah.
I saw that it's someone in the Caribbean
Well,
islands.
the Sergeant at Arms committed treason there, and he's lucky. That is treason because you honor the king's authority there. You can't allow that to happen. Cannot. So you're not concerned whether they're throwing microphone or they're lifting up chair and desk and throwing at one another. That is what they're supposed to do to each other, not me. You're not touching His Majesty now. But when I was there, it was Her Majesty. You're not touching that mace.
So then that's something...
And the Speaker, and at that point in time, if things get too hot, the Speaker has to fend for himself. Because you have to protect the mace. You can't protect him and protect mace.
So
He's one of them.
So on a light note, you know what? Let me not go down there. Let me not make a joke of it.
Let me hear what you're saying.
I was just about to say, from a strategic standpoint, when somebody rushed the mace, somebody rushed the Speaker.
No, it's His Majesty.
No, I'm saying, if I'm in opposition,
yes,
I'm thinking in my mind, hey, you rush the mace because me know the police go tackling up with you, and me deal with the Speaker.
Well, that happens in if
hey,
you.
And by the way, that's a light moment. People don't take it too serious, please.
No, that would never happen in Antigua here, really. The people, and if you notice, the days of what you call radicalism has gone. You know, the days of radicalism would have been the days of Black Power. You know, the Tim Hector faction, because they had different ideology. The days, as in the case of Grenada, Maurice Bishop, when you have Bernard Code and these fellows there, and you have a tyrant. There was no doubt that Eric Gary, Sir Matthew Eric Gary, was a tyrant. There was no doubt about that. And we had a little uprising in a little part of the Grenadines called Union Island.
Yeah.
Where a Rastaman named Bombo Charles. He's in England now. If you go to Facebook, you'll see who named Bombo Charles. He had a little uprising up there, get the people to rise up. You know what happened in Anguilla as well? These are things you have to keep your mind sharp about. But those days are gone. Because here in Antigua and Barbuda, and I'm just not being facetious, but just to make the point, you have the Governor General, you have the Prime Minister, you have the Commissioner of Police. Everybody gonna leave Antigua like that. Nobody thought about doing anything foolish. We are too enlightened now, bees. We are educated. And it will take a whole lot to move people. You know? And again, to show you we are not really a violent people, because when the police went down in Booby Alley, shut off the man door, and shot him with a rubber bullet, you think in other parts of the world the police them could have survived down there? No. And so that's why I commended the people of Point and Booby Alley, that they didn't start anything where it will get out of hand, where other things would happen. And I know there are people who would say that they're foolish, but they are not. They're very wise people. And where they are now, they're happy. Although some, you can't really please everybody. You can't do things to please everybody. You can't even say things that will please everybody. You have to expect that is life. If it were not so, Jesus Christ would not have been crucified. There were people that were crying. I mean, I watched the movie on the crucifixion, and I saw people who were crying. And you saw people who were spitting, people who were throwing stones, people who were doing all kinds of things. But those days are past. We don't have no Christ on earth now. We don't know when he will come. But I must tell you, Beef, I'm doing a commentary with a little bit of laughter in it. And the title of it is, hopefully I will finish it tonight, go right down to about 2 o'clock, I believe. The title of it is Shuggy the Apostle playing worry with the devil. I'll leave you with that, Beef. But I must commend the man who called you there to tell you how he feels, that there are lots of people who feel that he should not have resigned. But it's the best thing he did. And though the matter is still pending before the court, it is just to make a declaration. Just a declaration. It's not anything else. Just to make a declaration to say that he was not.
But no, you say that. No, you say that. I thought I heard today that what they've put before the court is to, one, that he was not duly nominated, and two, that Samantha be declared the winner.
No, that's not that's let me show you how that's stupid. And don't go along, don't believe that. The no judge is the supervisor of elections. Are we clear on that point?
Mm-hmm.
No judge can play the role of my very good friend. Let me go back over that. No judge can play the role of my very good friend John Jarvis. Isn't he the supervisor of elections?
Yes. No.
Yes.
No. John Jarvis is the chairman of the Electoral Commission.
Electoral Commission?
Yes, the supervisor of election. There's no supervisor election as we speak, because Miss Lady went on retirement. She went on retirement, and I don't think one was nominated. One was,
Well,
confirmed.
Whoever it is, whoever will be when the time comes, no judge can play that role. So this is why I told you, the judge is not there to say when elections should be called. That is not their role and function.
Well, I thought I heard today.
No, don't believe that. If you did hear that, don't believe that. Because no judge can declare the will of the people to another person who was not the will of the people in the first instance.
Final thing. So if that's the case, either which way, it's a by-election.
There will be.
So
based on our constitution, there is a time frame for it.
So if either which way is a by-election, what's the argument?
Say that again?
If either which way, whether by way of the resignation is a by-election, or by way of a declaration that he was not duly nominated is a by-election, why are we arguing?
No, that doesn't prevent him from going back there by doing the right. Well, he wouldn't have to resign now because he's not in government. He's not holding a public office. Nothing precludes him or any other person, his group, his party, would want to put in.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, and maybe I'm just being facetious, but I'm just saying, if he resigning leads to a by-election, that's one track. And even the other track, the matter goes to court and the court says that he was not duly nominated. That leads to a by-election. What's the argument about?
Well, there's no argument. There's no argument, Beef.
Have you heard anything?
Because
go ahead.
All the court, because you have something before the court has to make a ruling.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Right. But he has already left the scene, the landscape. Not totally, really. He has already left the parliament then. So he is now on the field, maybe, I don't know. If he's smart, he'll be out there on the basketball court in Bowlands and then play with some of the youth there, those who are 18 and eligible to vote, those who have been registered, that is, not those who are 18 just because they're 18. And he would have been going around to the households to look at the eligible voters, those who have already been registered. He would have been doing that. I don't think they can complete any registration now for 120 days. 120 days is what, 4 months?
Yeah.
Count the days of the month as 30. So 4 3 is 12, right?
Somebody told me after Carnival we're looking at.
Okay. But then again, it doesn't necessarily mean you must wait for 4 months.
I know that. But anyway, that might have just been
because you notice how the Prime Minister moved with the last 3 elections.
Yes,
he didn't wait till the 5-year ends.
Yes, but circumstances dictate where I do.
Well,
I don't think Baldwin at the time had any choice but to go down to the 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Hold the line there for me again. Let me bring in this final caller and then we'll go. Caller, could you turn down the radio, please? Hello. Good night.
I can hear the person.
Hello, good night. Good night.
Beef.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We're listening.
I did hear Mr. Pompey, but not hearing Beef.
No, go ahead. I'm here. I'm here. Who's this? Sounds like.
It sounds like Senator Nibs, you know, Minister.
Yeah, man. I'm hearing you, but Beef in a distance, so I can probably ask the question and you can relate to him, Mr. Pompey.
Yeah, because it's the same problem I'm having with Beef. I told him earlier o'clock.
Okay.
But go ahead, I can hear you.
Yeah, you just made a point there that give me a little concern. Because I was thinking, Mr. Pompey, that if the court ruled that Shugi was not duly nominated, legally then it would have meant that only 2 persons went to the election. And it would have been Marshall and the other person from the DNA. So in my considered opinion, I don't see the need for a by-election.
Well, but then...
You don't look at it that way?
No, I wouldn't want, because that is not the function of the court. The court can't tell anybody,
okay.
The Prime Minister.
Yes, okay, agreed.
Yes.
But why somewhere else, I believe the discussion can be had that only 2 persons went there. Because if you're not nominated, you can't run. So in as much as my fellow went through and got results,
yes.
Well, because the commission could not stop him from running.
No,
because you said it earlier,
He filed the papers, the required people come and say, nominated him, etc. So it was not the duty of the commissioner to turn him back.
No.
They had to do what they're doing now.
Correct.
So now if the court ruled that he was not duly nominated, he didn't run.
Well, you
can't run unless they're nominated. You don't agree with me?
You're correct. You're absolutely correct. But where the court is going to turn on that, it will be difficult for the court now to go and say, well, all right, the votes that you got, to split it between the two other people.
No, they're not saying it.
No.
They're saying that you did not run, so you didn't get any vote.
Right. So that is correct. Absolutely correct.
The fact that you weren't nominated, you have to take it as though you did not exist.
Correct. Absolutely.
And the only two persons existed is the other two who were qualified to run.
Yes.
And they did run and got results.
Yes.
So I believe between the commission and whoever, because I agree with you, it's not the duty of the court.
No,
but you do not have to have a by-election either which way.
Well,
that is what my contention is.
Well, fine.
Is that not, if the court ruled that the guy was not properly nominated, he did not run because you cannot run if you're not nominated.
Correct.
So the only two persons that ended up running was Marshall, and I can't recall the name for the DNA candidate.
Okay. But you see,
so whoever decides on election results, and I swear, I hope that the LA party is listening to me. You have to, somebody else have to find who the winner is, because it's not the court, as you rightfully said.
Yeah, that's not the function of the judiciary.
And you're correct. They're going to decide whether or not the guy was duly nominated based on the arguments that will come before them.
Correct.
And if they rule he was not, somebody else is going to have to work out the results of the election.
You would have heard me greeting Barbuda tonight. You would have heard.
Huh?
You would have heard me greeting Barbuda tonight.
No, I came on late.
Oh, late? Oh, okay.
And I'm not supposed to do that now. I'm supposed to always hear you.
I know. You know the running
as soon as I came in and I come in the house, I said, that is Pumpy, man. So I run quickly and I glued to the radio from then till now.
Well, that is so nice. That is so nice.
Yeah, man.
So I hope everything is going well on Barbuda. It's a place I love, all the years I spent there with y'all.
Yes, yes. And we had some good times.
Yes, indeed.
But you should also do a little visit now and then.
I must do that. You recall our party you remember that party in Government House when we shut down all the taverns in Barbuda?
That's the party of all parties.
Yes. Never happen again.
No, man, that's a record. Okay, then.
Well, all the best and good night to you and all the folks over there.
You take it good now.
Okay,
sir.
all right.
Okay, then.
So, yes, Beef, we're still on?
Yes, but let me just ask you this question based on what Mr. Nibs just said.
Yes.
We are a country of laws. Could you direct me to the law, whether it is in the Representation of the People Act, I would want to believe, that gives that authority to the commission to decide the winner under these circumstances?
No, man. The commission can't go down the road there. There is nothing before them.
Okay.
That election has passed.
Okay.
But because you had a petition file, that is what is the issue now. It's not who win now. It's not who win.
It seems to me as if either which way you're going back to a by-election.
Well, they have to. The Constitution provides for that. They have to.
That's what it seems to me.
120 days. There will be. Within that period, it doesn't have to wait until 120 days expire. No. So I don't know. I don't know what they will do, how soon they will look at it, but I think most people will be waiting to see what the court is saying. All that is happening now is what the court is saying, It's not what the court is doing. Because the man who is the subject of these petitions, of the petition, is Sugar himself, and he has already resigned from the membership of the House. So the election is out of the way. What is before the court, let me repeat that. What is before the court is whether or not he was duly or properly nominated, not the elected part of it now. Duly or properly nominated.
Well, I don't think that I don't think that I misunderstood.
Yeah.
But between the Prime Minister and some of the people who was on the show, I thought I heard that what was before the court, what they had put before the court. I'm not telling you that the court can rule this or no. But what was put before the court was to find out if he was duly nominated, and if not so, to declare Samantha the winner.
No, the court, that's not the function. That is for the supervisor.
By tomorrow, I'll be able to share the record with you, not to worry.
Yes.
God's spare life. Mr. Bumpy, it was a pleasure speaking with you again.
Well, it's my pleasure to be with you, Beef, and to try and offer some understanding to the listeners and especially people who would want to know what is happening.
And I appreciate that much because, I am of the opinion that the radio waves should be used to educate our people.
I agree with you. You remember earlier on I said the people who are well positioned and have all the information to disseminate to the public not doing it?
And they're not doing it for a reason, in my opinion.
Yes. Well, I'm going back to my commentary now, Beef.
All right.
All the best.
Rest well.
What about your partner there? I didn't hear his voice.
No, he's not in tonight. He has some issues that he's dealing with.
Oh, okay.
Holding his teeth and so around the place now, so I can't say certain things.
Oh, okay.
So for security reasons, I won't tell you on air, but I'll probably when we
I
chat.
have an idea. From the moment you talk, right?
Yes.
You use a word that tells me exactly what he's up to.
Yes.
Okay, then. Well, all the best.
All right. Have a good evening.
Okay, then.
Okay,
all
bless.
Right, bye-bye.
All right. Let me see what I take off. That now? Okay, good. Well, me learn the phone, so I'm a good man. All right. The time now in studio, wow, it's 11:31 p.m. And that was a good discussion there, I believe, with Mr. Pumpy. Mr. Pumpy is always ask the person what happened to the voters who vote for Shuggy. Oh, the person they was talking about when they said that when they said that Shuggy wouldn't count. I understand what you're saying. WhatsApp. I saw it a little late, so I couldn't put it there. But I understand what you're saying. But as far as I can see, as we go through this thing, either which way is gonna come down to a by-election, and I must say I'm so glad that we have our forefathers left us with the Constitution that they left us with. I have a newfound appreciation for it. I think that some people, or I see to myself, some people want to do things as they want to do it. When I hear, persons, when I hear persons are looking at an archaic law, when it is a law on the books, it is a law that you have on the book, we have on the books here in Antigua and Barbuda. Not only on the books, but it's in the Constitution. And we are told that, that's an archaic law you're looking at. It to me, that's a little cavalier, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm really glad that the wisdom of our forefathers have been captured in the Constitution. And I, for one, will resist, will speak against, will be guarded to do away with that wisdom as captured by our Constitution. Not for the modern people. Me no want to see the day come at all when people hold on and plane, forget what they hear because the Holy Place can come. No, not me. What we have been working, and if there's going to be any tweak, it must be looked at 500 different ways, because I believe that we have had that stability based on the document that we have now, and we should guard that. That's just my opinion with that. All right, time now in studio is 11:34 p.m. I see something pop up there behind. What's going on there? What do with that? Play what? Play that? What going on there? Okay, well, whoever put that there, play. So that's not my issue.
I'm not gonna let them pull me off the trail by saying, because you were hostile, why this happened. Not trying that nonsense with me. Use that for idiots like Kasiba them they saw.
Exactly.
That have them out so far of gas and rear end. They've gas that want pass gas, you have to ask if you execute move, let me pass gas. Okay, you can come back now, me done. You know? So
after the whole George weeks for the illegal march, I went and informed him why all his plans just crash. George, take for instance me, I'm fighting just like thee, but I have no guns, nor do I march, you see, because today all who march does end up in jail.
Oh yes, Sons of the Man Chuck Dust.
Trying to walk.
Hey, that conversation they put me in mind for some Chuck Dust music.
You play free, stay out for your tail. So forget all them march and say.
Let me just see what's happening on the WhatsApp board.
Look at the licks you got that day. George play it my way. If you want Eric to go, hit him where it hurts for so. Walk slow and George come and sing calypso.
This is Peruvian vibe.
Yes, 11:36 p.m. Let me just say thank you to the persons who would have called or those who would have WhatsApp. Hey, thank you for staying the course with me tonight. Hey, my vex Jablaki in here now. But tell Jablaki, I tell them to come. They must come, man. That's all I can say. Hey, let me just say thank you to those who would have just listened. Hey, those in the silent majority. They're not going to call, they're not going to WhatsApp. Hey, but they're there listening. Hey, thank you for staying the course. To those who have joined us via the World Wide Web, you might have been on the Facebook page. Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. God spare life. I should be back next week, Saturday, 8 p.m. Once that is the Lord's will. Hey, remember. Hey, try and stay as safe as possible. Hey, for the ladies who reside alone, please burn the little extra electricity. Hey, your security is priority number one. And remember, hey, to keep the Almighty God as your guide. Hey, because with Him in your boat, hey, you can smile at the storm. That is a fact. And remember, hey, never fear. Once the Almighty brings you to it, He certainly will bring you through it. So until we come together again, hey, God's willing, take more and go to the next chapter. Which one am I going to go with? Hey, big up yourself, Jablaki.
Show them problems that we face, but marching up and down the place. Georgie changed the pace. Government want your head, you know. Keep marching, they'll kill you slow. If you know, you better start singing calypso.
Hey, good night, everybody. Sleep good.
I leave home hurriedly one day in shorts and jersey. People downtown showing poo your mouth at me. I meet Tommy Joseph by Wrightson Road, Dockyard. The way I dress, Tommy asks me if I'm mad. Tommy said nowadays you can't tell who is who. Cause vagrants and madmen dress up like you. I turned and told Tommy, even though I look nasty, I am no vagrant, I ain't crazy. And then I tell him, Anytime you see me on a stage bareback, whining and carrying on like them kind so quack, or degrading women in my calypso, or jamming upon some wine of your gesso. Anytime you catch me in them nastiness, singing smut on man-woman business, raising my shirt, rolling my belly sexually, get me sentence card, cause you sure that you're the girl man. Tony said nowadays they big run in nice tweed coat. The social ones does wear frill front shirt. Nowadays, my friend, you can't tell which man is mad, because they dress up in the latest fad. It have one playing wig like a judge and a serious face, others walking bout tongue with big briefcase. But Chalky won't be so, even though I'm a dustbin hoe. When my brain start to go, you're bound to know, I'll tell you when. Anytime you catch me on a jacket and tie scene, scissors still in my tail just to meet the queen. Or on coke and ganja, taking a little snuff. Well, these are all signs that I'm going on. Anytime you see me, Jerry curl me hair, or trimming flat top like what Grace Jones wear, or come and fight for the calypso crowd, singing a next man's song. Run for your life, lad, you're sure that you're the good man.
Was awakened one morning by the sound of pan. The strangest thing, there was no steel band. Listening to glorious sound of perfect instruments. Big sessions that was happening inside my head. I can't wait to hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam. Ba-dam-bam, sound of fun in my head. I did not want anyone to think I was going mad. Sounds I heard that was internal. Sound like the works of masters of fun in this land. Ring, 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 ring in my ears, works of gate to sovereign. I can't wait to hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba. How they combine to end this song. Ba-dam-bam, ba-dam-bam, sound of fun in my head. To find me a panya to transfer this sound. For all to hear it on real steel drum. I asked like who can call this and CC to assist me. So when they hear ring, 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 ring in my ears, sound of perfect instrument. I can't wait to hear this tune on real pan, especially the run. Ba-ba-la-ba-lam, ba-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-la-ba-lam. How they combine to
sing this song. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum, so the voice in my head.
Located in the capital city of St. John's, Antigua in the Caribbean Sea.
Okay, stop there.
And our transmitter located at the highest point, Bonnie Peak in the parish of St. Mary. This is ZDK Liberty Radio International 97.1 FM, the People's Radio Station.